What's going on, guys? Good evening. How's everybody doing? What's going on? What's going on? Last night's stream had you dying? That's good. That was a doozy. We're no longer hungry. We're in much better spirits. Everything's good. It'll be a good stream today. We got a bunch of funny stuff to cover. We'll start with something a bit heavier. Not even heavy, just it's kind of insane, actually. Nothing is as it seems. But we'll wait for a sec. Let the room fill up a bit. Bo, in honor of your stream, I'm gonna order a Happy Meal and a Big Mac meal from Glovo. Enjoy the slow death, the slow decay of your organs. Not recommended, but you do you, boo boo. What's going on, Adam? I went to bed. Damn, Marin, you're insane. 5 a.m. Hopefully you got work done. You're on one of those in the zone flow states. Hopefully. You should cover the dumb, regressive right-wing factions more. They are tying us down. Where, though? I need the videos, guys. You tell me, like, you should cover this, do this. Like, send it to me. I'm looking at the email. And don't link me whole channels. Excuse me. Some dude was like, bro, you have to watch this. This guy's channel. Like, watch his videos. And I'm like, I click on it. It's a link straight to his channel homepage with a million videos. Like, what are you doing? You think I have time to sift through all this guy's videos? A little effort, please. Like, link the video and go specifically. If there's a specific portion, like this part's really good, you know, minute 27, help me. Like, you really want to get these videos, you got to help me a little bit. Some dudes are so lazy, they don't even drop the link, bro. They're just like, hey, you need to check out this channel. All right, let me go type in everything. Let me make sure I got the right thing. You're watching something interesting and my channel? Good. Fuck yeah. All right, we're just double checking some things here. I'm seeing if we got any other interesting emails.
We've all
No sleep from yesterday. You just finished moving all your equipment that you bought. Wow. That you brought to your storage. Hell yeah, we're live. Hell yeah, we're live, bro. Let's go. Oh, by the way, guess who I messaged? I messaged Aaron Clare. You know what the fuck he wanted? You guys kept pestering me about Aaron, message Aaron. Bro, when are you gonna message him? Okay, I messaged the guy. What's up? You know what he said? Hey, bro, I got a book I'm trying to sell. You want to do ads? You what? You want to do content, or you want me to push your book? He wants me to push his book, bro. I don't even push T's Hanley. You think I'm gonna push your book? Come on, bro. Come on, big dog. That shit's wild. Hey, you want to run ads for my book? Let's not even start with, hey, let's just do some content together, and then I got a book and see what you think. Straight up, bro, just run my book. Okay. Okay, dude. We haven't even done a video together, bro. I haven't even spoken to you on the phone. Just, all right, dude, I'm going to pay you what? To push your book. Okay, cool. Uh-huh. I just told him, bro, I'm not doing ads at the moment. He's like, all right, let me know if that ever changes. Like, and it won't. Not for you, Aaron. Sorry. Ever. You gotta reapproach better. On the other side of the spectrum, you know, normal people like Jack. I was messaging. I probably could call his ass right now. He actually responds back, and he's a normal human being. He's like, cool, dude, I'm free in a couple hours. Let's talk. And I'm like, I have to stream. I went on a little baby hike with my girl. He says, cool, call me whenever. He's East Coast time, usually done with work by 4 p.m. my time. So he's pretty much done with work, his time. Literally call him right now on like fucking on speaker and just prep some cool shit for you guys. That's how you do it. That's a normal person speaking. So shout outs to Jack, dude. I'll call you maybe midstream, you know, on some downtime when we're relaxing. I'll call him midstream and maybe mute the mic. Depends what we get into real quick and shoot the shit real quick to plan some stuff. And that's it. And that's how you do this normally. And not that difficult. Yeah. Fucking shocking communication, right? It's so true. Alrighty there. 1 second, boys. I'm just syncing some documents here. Because, you know, your boy is coding in the background. I did so much shit last night. I also went to bed at like 2 a.m. I can't fault you for that. My sleep is shit. I haven't been to the gym today. I went to bed at 2 a.m. coding. My woman was like, when the fuck did you come to bed last night? Late. I wasn't gooning off, babe. Trust me. I was developing a new $1 million idea. I wasn't gooning. I promise. Why does it say backdoor bitches 98? Sent you a email. That's my app. Don't worry about that. That's the dev build. Working on something. Oh shit. That's not for release. All right. I kid. Or am I? I guess you'll never know. What I'm currently doing right now is called a handoff to my new chat. I'm just confirming everything went well with the doc sync that we were talking about in that one episode. And that's it. We're ready to rock, boys. So welcome in to everybody on this beautiful Sunday morning / evening / afternoon, depending on where you live. And let me put this screen up for everyone. That's what we'll be getting into. First, though, shout outs to everybody as we get in the shirts, the mugs. I forgot. I'm wearing it. The new stuff came in, as you can see. Very nice. Very nice. Careful washing this too many times. And always wash it on like the sensitive settings that you have. Here is the mug too. I don't have my coffee in it, but there you go. Just vote harder. Fresh to death. You know, matching, because why not? We have the other ones in too. We need to bring them in here. But we got the double, triple shot. Vote harder, Goy. You didn't hear? You didn't hear what Trump tried to do? We'll start it off with this. This is what Trump tried to do. I got to put this one up because shocking. To be MAGA today is just to constantly get shit on. It's a sad state of affairs. So, Shadow of Ezra was that channel, and he posted that. Let's see, duplicate this. Let's find that. I'm not even making this up. This is what's crazy. Peep this, boys. This is how crazy it is. This is the dystopia that we're living in. Not making this up. President Trump says that now is the perfect time for Congress to immediately approve the FISA domestic spying program for national security reasons because the military really needs it. What? Trump says he's willing to give up his liberties for safety. And even though FISA was weaponized against him by bad people, he promises it'll never happen again. I'm willing to give up my security for the military. Wasn't there a famous quote by a very famous founder of this country that you deserve neither security nor liberty?
Surveillance tool that expires this coming week. It obviously allows the FBI to surveil potential terrorists who are overseas. And we don't know right now if this individual was radicalized by somebody like that. But do you think about the importance of having these tools to protect our country from these kinds of threats? And how will you get that message to Congress when there's a Congress right now that's skeptical about renewing those powers?
Well, Jackie, I know both sides of it because FISA was used against me and very, very viciously by a dirty cop. You know, we had the Comey gang, Comey and his remnants, and it was used against me. And they used it very illegally. I mean, they signed court orders that were illegal.
So it could be abused.
Every one of those people should be prosecuted, frankly. It was used against me. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is that the military really needs it, and it's really needed for national security, and there's a division, but I was willing to give that up, I mean, because, again, it was used against me more than anybody else, and by bad people, by sick people also. These are sick people. Comey was terrible. He was a horrible, sick person. He had real problems. And I use the word to describe him. He was a dirty cop. It's an old-fashioned term, but he was a dirty cop, bad guy. And there were other bad guys. And they used FISA illegally. They used it for a purpose that wasn't supposed to be used for. Okay. On the other side, you have the military. They really need it. General Raisin Cain. Look at the success we had in Venezuela. Look at the success we're having with Iran. I mean, Iran is decimated. And we got a lot of information by using FISA. I think we would have been very successful regardless, but it made the job a lot safer and a lot easier. So I would say, and what I've done, and I've told people, I'm willing to give up my security for the military because ultimately that's, to me, the highest cause is the safety of our nation.
Thoughts on that? It already was used against me. It are dirty cops, he calls them. They used it against me. They made my life hell. Luckily, I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars and can afford incredible lawyers to get me off and drag this through court. On top of that, I'm also a very famous public person, so there is scrutiny. So my case has to be handled with care. They can't make a single mistake. So when they're bringing charges against me or trying to conspire to fabricate some evidence, it has to be tip top. Now, you, the average, ordinary person, if the government comes after you, you don't have the money to fight it. You're not famous enough to make sure they, dot their I's and cross their T's. They don't care. Evidence will be fabricated and you will get buried by the long dick of the law. Surveillance for thee, but not for me, essentially, because they won't be the ones getting surveilled. You will be. There will be provisions that Congress, they're not allowed to be surveilled, or it'll be illegal or limited in some sense in scope. But for you, ordinary citizen, why? Because there's people trying to shoot at the president, because there's people shooting CEOs, because the important people are starting to die. And often they're being targeted more so as the economy goes down the drain, as politics become more radicalized, as our leaders keep managing a decline that they can't actually manage. It's getting worse and worse. The trust in institutions have been lost completely. And the one guy we brought in to make a change completely turned his back on the mandate and did everything the donor class, the establishment, the swamp he was tasked by the people to fix with the populist vote. He completely shit on them. And now is the establishment. He is the swamp. And this is Patriot Act 2.0. This is your civil liberties being trampled on for the safety and the security of the elites, because they need to surveil you, Goyim, because you're starting to get a little riled up. You're becoming uncontrollable. Now there's these crazy lone wolf actors, and Palantir's got to keep track of all of you, because we got to be able to make sure none of this happens to us, because we're the only ones that matter. But when we bring in the tens of millions of people in your communities that are murdering you, raping you, eating your cats and your dogs, not assimilating all that shit, turning your street into a war zone, not our problem. You should love the diversity. When we bring in 600,000 Chinese students, when we bring in infinite H-1B Indians to take your jobs, when we leave you destitute and not able to afford anything, or with millions and billions, tens of billions, perhaps over decades, trillions of dollars of fraud being instituted on the country, the taxpayer, robbing us of our treasury, of our riches passed down to us. Yeah, don't worry about that. We won't even enforce the laws. The immigrants come, they steal, they scam, and they leave back home to their mansions in their homelands. So amazing to be a taxpayer in this system. And now our president, the one that's supposed to be the populist right, he is the example of the populist right, the leader, is now talking about secret courts and allowing the government to secretly spy on you, essentially, without, warrantless tapping, all that stuff. They want it all. They want Palantir to take all your information, all your social media posts, everything now with the power of AI, all this information being ingested in real time. Big Daddy government, the long authoritarian boot on your neck, the surveillance state. 1984 is here. Sure, under Biden, it was 1984 LGBT rainbow colored bullshit. Now under the right wing, it's going to be Palantir-based surveillance, where they just send suicide drones to blow you up before you try something. You searched a certain few keywords, you're in too many little weird communities, and then you got a little too close to certain high profile people, and now the kill bots trigger. They got the kill command. This is what they're doing. Yeah, debanking, haven't even talked about that one yet, but your bank accounts will be frozen in the future. You get on, yep, exactly, no fly list. They will make it hard for you to move around. Every single aspect of your life that is digital today or depends on the digital world today will absolutely come crashing down. All because you said something, because you're on the different side of the aisle. And like a pendulum, it will swing back and forth. You know how this works? Right now, there's Republicans in power. So as long as you support the Republicans, the establishment, the Zionists, you want war with Iran, you blow smoke up Trump's ass, you're good. You will not be at the pointy end of this surveillance. The leftists will. Then the leftists will get power. Then when the leftists get power, then you get to be under rainbow authoritarianism. No different. So now you're going to go to jail because you misgendered somebody. And it just goes back and forth. And those at the top constantly keep those at the bottom distracted, constantly poor, no upward mobility. Like I said, the institutions no longer serve you, only the special interests, and you will grow up to and work in a society that doesn't serve you and has no future, no place for you in it. You are being slowly starved to death. You're essentially made to be a little goy slave in your goy box, with the goy bots bringing you your goy slop so you could die a nice goy death, which is you will own nothing and be miserable, not happy. You will own nothing, be miserable, die a slow death of mediocrity, poverty, and struggle, while they live in gated communities not getting surveilled, not dealing with the homeless, the drug addicts, the illegal immigrants killing people, the millions of other migrants that are taking the jobs Americans should be having, both illegal and legal. Doesn't matter what pathway you have. And it's all fine, bro. If you dare say something, each camp has their zealots ready to pounce. If you're a Democrat trying to say something about the Democrats, hey, we've gone a little too far left with these ideologies. We're losing the people in the middle. You're not Democrat. You're not left enough. You're a fucking traitor. You're a scumbag. You hate yourself. You are a Nazi. You're a fascist. Same shit with the right. Same shit with the right. You turn on some of the authoritarian things like FISA courts, like not releasing the Epstein files, like not wanting war with Iran. Immediately, the MAGA bots, the maggots come out in full force. You're a panicking. You don't know what you're talking about. Trump's the greatest president we've ever had. I don't care about $10 gas. Fucking nuke Iran. They come out with the scripts, dude, like bots, like NPCs, literally. It's like we're in a video game. The moment you step out into the world, you open the door and you're awakened. Oh, shit, this is all fake. All of these people, they're all the same. No matter who I vote for, each side continues making corporations more powerful. Special interests like Israel keeps getting what they want. And I'm at the bottom of the food chain. I'm the human centipede, last guy. You're the last one taking the last bit of shit from the human centipede that is this political, this governance, this entire scheme that we call liberal democracy. Me and you and everybody else down here, we're last place in the human centipede. Okay? That's what we are. And they understand this. And they're actively building a world to gate themselves off should your mouth ever release from the final anus. And that's something. And actually ask questions. And when that day does come and people start asking questions, all of a sudden, hey, gotta zip your mouth shut. Hey, it's like the guy in front of you is like, come back there and eat my shit. Hey, bro, how dare you step out of the human centipede? Get back in there and put your mouth on my anus and complete the human centipede. The guy literally eating shit, getting screwed over, is now mad that you decided to stop eating shit and getting screwed over. It is a gross analogy or metaphor, I understand, but this is what it seems like. We're all eating shit, and then I got a shit eater telling me why I need to get back in line to eat more shit. Isn't that crazy? It's not like it's rich people arguing down with poor people. It's not like some rich guy, a multi-millionaire, is telling me, hey, you're poor, you don't know what you're talking about, anybody can make it into society, and you can feel the disconnect. It's like boomers trying to tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's not even happening. Literal broke people. Some poor, next door to me probably, a poor like me, is over here like, can't you see Trump is doing his best? Who cares? Inflation's back. Oh my God, a little bit more of taxes. Oh, gas prices, who really cares? It's just gas prices, drive less. Stupid shit like that. You can't afford to have babies? Well, they've always been expensive. The fucking shit eaters are telling you this, man. That's crazy. It's like, bro, you're in here with me. We're the crabs in the bucket. We can't get out. They literally put a cap on us. We got a glass ceiling. They don't let it. We can't move. And you're telling me as I'm trying to climb out, hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate the gift. As we're trying to climb out and I'm looking down and I'm reaching to hand you a claw, my brother in Christ, please come up with me. You pull me down and you go, where the fuck do you think you're going? Aren't you ready to get boiled alive, stupid? That's what we're here for. Come back down. Quit panicking. We're not about to get cooked to death. They got great plans for us. Trust the plan. We're not getting cooked to death. If you just trusted the plan a little harder. Oh, thank you, brother. Appreciate another one. If you just trust more harder, if you vote a little harder, like the mug says, just vote harder, bro. Just vote harder, right? Like the shirt right here. If you vote a little harder, boys, in the merch store, grab yours. It'll all get better for us. Crazy. Yeah, appreciate you, Shepard.
At AbJG6JZ donated $2. Can you please use less disgusting analogies?
I can't. Hey, that's what hit me. That's it. That's what I got. It is what it is. It made my point, though. I know my mom is upstairs. Sheesh. Okay. Back to what we were doing. Went off on a little tangent there. I'll make that one an episode. So I found something absolutely insane here, which is why the stream was titled this, because I wanted to watch a video about what is actually going on with this social media influencing bullshit. And I didn't know it was as bad as it was, or at least let me say it another way. I didn't know it was so precisely developed already, so mature in implementation that it even shocked me. I've been doing this shit wrong for the longest time, because apparently to blow up on social media is quite literally a very simple 2, 3, 4, 5-step process. So it says Ashley St. Clair, I think this is Elon's baby mom's, the crazy one of them, one of the many crazy ones, confirmed the White House runs group chats telling these accounts what to post within minutes of shots fired tonight, before there was any news of casualties, and before the president said this exact talking point. This was the chat in real time. You may be following some of these people: Jack Posobiec, Libs of TikTok, Andrew Colvett, Cernovich, Tom Fatton, Geiger Capital, Buzz Patterson. Look at all these. I follow some of these accounts. Brylan Hollyhan, Dustin Grage, Tara Bull. I follow that one. I recognize that one. Megan McCain, Wall Street Mav. That's another one I follow. And Wokeness. That's another one I follow. A whole bunch of these accounts. Shills. These are shill accounts with talking points. And I wrote, it used to be TV that boomers would get all their information from. For us millennials and Gen Zs, these are the things we follow. Accounts like this. This is where we're getting a bit of information dissemination. And it's fake. It's just as fake as the TV was. Bought and paid for. All of these. Look at all of them. 7K Club. And then some. And then I'm wondering, I see this, right? And I'm going, what the hell's going on here? And then they got this guy. His name's Devin Nash. Exposing the new manufactured viral content economy. And I'm watching this video, and literally I'm like only 10 minutes in watching it. I got to cover this because this is crazy. Even the influencers themselves that seem like they had organic growth, it's fake. And I'm watching this and I'm like, am I doing this incorrectly? So watch this.
Recently, when you've been scrolling social media, that you're being astroturfed, that like you aren't choosing the influencers and podcasters and like the brands and the topics that show up for you. You just are kind of a participant. Like the media doesn't feel as real as it used to be. Everything just feels like it's just being served to you. And a lot of times you come across something that you didn't even choose or know about to select. Like if you feel like things are not quite real anymore, this video is for you. Because if you understand this chart that we're going to go over today and all of the things I'm going to talk to you about, you're going to understand that content creation is a gamed system now. This is not clickbait. This is actually true. I'm going to go through step by step what is happening and how a person and a group of people can propel any influencer to high viewership, regardless of content quality. You can be the most uninteresting person.
You hear that? Most uninteresting. You could be the dude who doesn't know where chickens and eggs comes from. You can be super fucking boring and have zero personality, zero knowledge in your head. Most of these live streamers, when you tune into the live streams, the IRL streamers in real life walking around, it's so fucking boring. Let's get it.
Ever. And you can still get boosted in algorithms. And it happens by tricking algorithms into featuring them. It's a guaranteed way to gain followers, and it's basically pay to win. So in this video, we're going to explain step by step how it works. We're going to go through some content that's in this system, and I will show you literally that you can promote anybody. You can promote anybody to the top in the world. It doesn't matter what their content is. What most people think about the creator economy and how it exists these days is no longer true. Algorithms are being abused at a very high level. So let's break it down. Let's go through step by step how this works. And this image here is absolutely going to be our Bible for this discussion. When we look at this, you're seeing a month-long period. So I want you to note, like, this is 1 month. This is, as of the time of this recording, this is March to April. So just a few days ago, you can see our number one guy here, Clavicular, who you may have heard of. You may have been like, this guy just exploded. I see videos of him everywhere. What's going on? I never searched for this dude. What's happening? Has generated over 2.2 billion, with a B, billion views in a single month. He has 69,000 videos. That's short form videos across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube and X. 69,000 videos that are all about him. How is this possible? Well, he has 1,610 paid clippers that are working full time to put this stuff out on the internet. And likewise, you can see all of these other influencers who, to varying degrees, have the same thing going on. Here's Aiden Ross with 812 clippers. He has 11,000 videos that came out this month, accumulated about 714 million views. Now, this is the official clipping and kick partnership. This is them just releasing this information. This is not guessed upon data. This is like literally the platform that's doing it, showing you how this works. And we're going to break down.
Hey, I need clippers. I need clippers, boys. So who's trying to clip? How does this payout work?
Exactly what is happening here and how these guys are tweaking the algorithm for this to work, because it's both fascinating and a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, Andrew Tate did do it. I think Andrew Tate is the one who first did this properly. He had probably a ton of money to do this. And so he paid a ton of people and absolutely exploded on TikTok. And I think people pretty much perfected his system. This is probably what he's going to walk through. I'm just so curious.
So the very first thing to understand about this, once you understand like that this is happening and that there's like just a ton of paid clippers that are being paid quite literally to post these clips everywhere of just various types of content. The first thing we have to understand is that you start with a central Discord server. Now, there are other ways to do these campaigns, and there are platforms like Vero, which or Duzla. One of those has some association with Mr. Beast. They operate the same way, but as platforms. But for this video, I think the most interesting stuff that we're going to go over is actually just going to be the platforms. So you can see here, this is the largest clipping server. And you can see that they, once you get into the clipping server, which I think has over like 20 or 30,000 people in it, you can say, hey, you're just a few steps away from getting paid for post content. Here's how you get started. You can just go browse the campaigns, and you can go see that you can apply for kick streaming clipping program, which we're going to talk about a little bit later.
So this is what we're going to watch, the kick streaming clipping program, whatever, the kick clipping program. Boys, pay attention.
As it relates to this. So you can just get paid by joining one of these servers, no problem. And here is exactly how these campaigns work step by step. Each campaign is going to be one influencer or a podcaster or a brand. Typically, like for the purposes of this video, we're going to be talking about live streamers, but this is being done for, I sat in these Discord servers, the invite only ones, and as well as like the public ones for the past like 3 weeks before making this video. And it shocked pretty much every major podcaster or like brand that you've heard of has had a campaign in these Discord servers in the time that I was sitting in them. And we're going to go over it, but like specific clips and specific moments that they want featured as well are also featured. So like it's a totally game system. Like there's just everybody's just doing paid clips that's popular whatsoever. How this system works is as follows. We're going to go through it. So starting with the CPM system and how it works. Typically, when we think about platforms, these are all going to be short form mostly. So this is going to be clips of this person's like long form. So when I say long form, I mean like a podcaster makes a video that's like 2 hours. And then these paid clippers will go through. They'll select 50 to 30 second videos. 30 to 60.
Yesterday's stream was what? 5 hours or so, something like that. Like, imagine, think about the amount of content there. Think about that. Wow.
60-second video parts or like 2-minute parts that they think are interesting, and then
the AI auto clipping doesn't work well enough. It just clips slop. It doesn't understand certain nuance, and you do need some form of edited videos. People still need to be in the loop for that.
They will post those clips on these 3 platforms. There's a little bit of this done on X. It kind of depends. Every campaign is a little bit different, but most of them I've seen focus on these 3 platforms. The way that you get paid is you have what's called a flat CPM. So a CPM is just the amount that you make for 1,000 views. And these will usually be between about 10 cents to 40 cents, but I've seen ones that are as high as about $2 to $3. So every campaign has a like payout, and you can see here. I'll pull up one just so you can kind of see like how it looks. So this is a campaign for Caleb Hammer, and you may be seeing a lot of his clips. And this is a separate Discord server that's been created. You can see the payout for Caleb is 75 cents per 1,000 views. That there's a minimum view required for payout, and that there's a payment method. And it shows you the platforms that it wants you to post on. So you can post on TikTok, you post on Instagram, you can post on Twitter, you can post on X in this case. So there's an example of like a pretty prominent podcaster. Now either it's his agency paying for this or it's him, I don't know, right? But he's this is the system that he's running. So this is an example of like a single campaign that's being run right now. Like this is something that I pulled just a couple of days ago. Okay.
Wow.
So they're offering a flat CPM of 75 cents per 1,000 views.
Jeez Louise. I need to get on that. Hey, thanks for the 100 kicks, brother.
And in this case, it's going to be 75 cents. I've seen like $2, $3. Most of these are like 10 to like 50 cents or so. You'll notice on that screenshot that I linked you that there was a minimum view payout threshold. So what does that mean? That means that you can't have this campaign. You don't get paid if you don't have 100,000 views. Now, that's not per clip though. So what, if we just like put the payment details over here for a second, the 100,000 views means the aggregate of.
So basically, they're offering $75 per 100,000 views, but is that in totality? So hold on. So your payout, wow, this is genius, because here's what they're doing. If you're under 100,000 views and you got a ton of videos getting 10,000 here, 50,000 here, 60,000 here, that's free money for them, free work. Once your videos accumulatively get to 100,000 or more, you made your first $75. That's kind of genius. Because what you get with clippers, if you pay them a flat rate, like let's say $50 a video, they're not incentivized to make anything that gets big views. It's just like, here's your video, here's the money. Yeah, fuck that.
You as an individual. So if you have 2 or 3 clips that get, let's say you have 3 clips that get 30,000 views each, you do not get paid. But if you have 3 clips that get 30,000 views and then 1 clip that gets 10,000, you get paid on the whole 100,000. So there's just that's what they mean by minimum payout. So most of these people are creating, for these campaigns, they're creating like 50 to 100 different clips across multiple different accounts in order to reach this payment threshold, and then they get paid based on the on the CPM that was stated. There are also bounties and bonuses. So these show up in a lot of individual clipping campaigns. And you can see here, we have a bounty for Pirate Software. Again, I don't know who sponsored this. I'm just showing you what's here. So here's Pirate Software. It says here that this is a payment of $3,000 per million views, which is a multiplier. $300 for 100,000 views, and $3,000 for 1 million views. This is an invite-only Discord server, so this is not associated with the other Discord server that I've shown. This is crazy, a secret Discord server, because I think they're a little bit more careful when they're trying to promote individual clips and influencers, just from getting people to know about how this works. But you can't hide from Devin Nash. No, sir. So this is Pirate Software gives his thoughts on the recent changes to Kick. And there's requirements. Post the image below. All platforms are allowed, so they'll allow.
So this is the system. You start your channel. You talk about whatever it is you're talking about. You get over there on these clipping discords, post your video, post some payout, and brute force your way through the algorithm. They've now done the Andrew Tate model, but they made it accessible to anybody that's got money. Anybody that's got some money to spend. You start your YouTube channel, you record a sick long video discussing whatever, and you brute force this shit with capital. Wow. Because once you make it, like Andrew Tate has made it, like Clavicular has made it, Nick Fuentes is really big on clips too. Once you make it past a certain threshold and you're known everywhere, it's game over. You can operate on any platform. They can't kill you. Your reach is essentially near infinite now. And the amount of money that's coming your way that's insane. Holy crap, dude. What a system. I'm going to get on this.
A dank 911 donated $5. This could be a good remote income for people. Professional clipper.
Yeah, big time. Now, Matt, so this is the other side of it. I'm thinking from the creator side how I benefit, but if you're on the other side of this and you're good at clipping, like you got an eye, you can edit shit, you can put the good music that makes people watch, you're getting paid, dude. You're getting paid money. There's so many clippers, not even so many clippers, but there's a bunch of clippers that are making way more money than I'm making. Tens of thousands monthly, easy. All they do is grab clips from other people. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody's ever heard your voice. It's just faceless, and you're just grabbing clips from my stream, that guy's stream, other guy's stream, some other guy's stream. Crazy.
TikTok, Reels, everything. And then there's like a command associated with it. But this is basically just a clip of like Pirate Software talking about Kick, and whoever wanted this promoted is paying for it to be promoted. So sometimes there's bounties, and sometimes you get paid quite a bit for those. Now, next,
yeah, I need clippers. This is a smart way of doing it. I'll pay out that same fucking payout Caleb's giving, dude. 75 per 1,000. Which gets you at 100,000 minimums. It's cool. If I could get a rotation of clippers that could actually put out decent work, it's hard to find a good clipper. Back in the day, I had to use Fiverr, and most of them suck. Hey, Bo, you asked for editors to get in touch last week. He edited a portion of your stream, and you'll drop it in your email for 30 minutes from now. Is it for clips, or... I need clippers. I don't need anybody to edit my videos, like in that sense. Damn, that's smart, dude. This is genius.
Campaign.
This is genius for anybody wanting to make it in this while you still can.
Usually have a maximum.
This dude says, hit me up. I got editing experience. I'm going to hit you up, bro. Okay, listen. Word of advice for dudes trying to approach creators to work with them. Stop asking. Edit a video. Drop the best you got and just say, here, this is for you. Just showing you what I could do. Let me know if you want to work together. If you message me asking me to work together and you don't have clips already from my channel ready to rock so I can judge your work, shit isn't happening for you. End of story. I need clippers that could make fire clips, and I'll do these payouts. I'm not even joking. If your shit is blowing up, I'm bringing you on board, and we're just working together, period, with flat rates on top of that. Like just salaries plus the clip bonuses. But you have to have a talent. I'm not paying for slop, paying to find out if you're good. You have to start the account. You got to get the views, show me the views, show me all that shit, and cool. Yeah.
Cap. So we were not seeing that in the previous ones that I'm showing you, but oftentimes the campaigns cap at like $10,000 to $20,000, at which point they shut off. And to be clear, I don't think that the servers that are doing this are scammy about this. Like you might think, oh, like they cap it at $10,000, then they don't tell anybody that everybody else that creates clips, like there's a bunch of free clips that are done. In my experience, like looking at this stuff and doing all this research and studying it, there isn't really a situation like that. Like there's a pretty clear progress bar to indicate when the cap has been reached and when you don't make money from clipping anymore. In most of these cases, I haven't really seen a lot of like black hat marketing in that direction just to give credit where credit's due. Like my interest is in honest information. I'm not trying to make a value judgment here. There'll be plenty of that later in the video, and just for you to decide. So I didn't see that here. Most of this stuff is very well put together. I mean, by like pretty elite operators. And it seems to be pretty above board. I mean, the Clippers get paid, and they get paid a base CPM, which you saw from Caleb's campaign that I listed here. And then they also get to keep the RPM, which means like the money the platform itself pays you. So you get both the CPM, which is like the 75 cents per 1,000 that gets paid out through the campaign. And then you also get to earn whatever the YouTube short or the reel actually makes off of the ad revenue just off of the platform. So this ends up being a pretty good deal for like second and third world people, which are kind of the majority of people that are participating in this.
That makes sense, dude. Everybody's got a Clipper team of like 100 Filipinos.
A damp 911 donated $5. After I retire in Thailand beginning of next year, I'll be learning to build this type of stuff, and building a remote business like this is very interesting to me.
It is, man. And you got the capital too. That's what's crazy, because your first few videos that you put out, you have all these third world Clippers. That's what he says. You have like 1,000 people fighting for, say you get like a 10 grand, 5 grand campaign. Yeah, it's kind of like a pyramid scheme in a way. Not really, because it's just a payout based on performance. So you could take the lion's share if you actually know what you're doing. Vast majority of people don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're lazy and they put out garbage and slop. They don't get the money. It's just a performance-based setup, not a pyramid scheme, because anybody who's good at what they do will eat all the time, every time. Very nice
system.
Okay.
You can end up probably getting like an RPM of like maybe like $1.50 to $2 an hour, and for like first world or Americans or people like that, you know, that's going to probably translate to about like $300 or $400 a month. Like obviously the work that you put in, you get more. But for people in less advantaged countries that are getting paid that can be very notable. And it's worth noting also that although I didn't post it in my research here, all of these payments that I saw, literally all of them are in USDT. So they're paid via cryptocurrency. You're paid out via cryptocurrency. I guess in this case, this is a PayPal payment, so it might just be a direct payment. But almost all the campaigns I saw are paid out via USDT. So that's a cryptocurrency that's tethered to the dollar. So that's notable because I think that's very favorable to third world and second world countries. Okay, so let's take a person like Clavicula that we were talking about before, and you've got the 2.2 billion views on top of 70,000 clips. Like, how expensive is this campaign to run? Like, how crazy are we talking here? Well, it's going to be about 31,700 views on average for...
Someone says, stupid question, but what would stop a person from paying an AI to do the clipping and selling the work to the content creator? The views. I don't care if you used AI to make the clips, because I'm going to look at the channel you've created. You're going to show me the views. And if you got 100,000 views, whether AI made it, your asshole made it, or you made it, I don't care who made it. Did you actually get the views? If you got the views, cool. Nobody cares about your methods.
Because we're just taking the 2.2 billion and we're dividing it by...
The difference is AI won't produce quality like some people will.
The 70,000. And you get paid if you aggregate 100,000 views. You don't get paid if your total clips are below that. So there will be some percentage of people that just don't get paid. But I think the majority do. But let's say that like in a situation, just to give you an idea... where even like in a crazy number where like 70% of the views are free, which I think it's probably closer to like 20% or 30%. The math on it is it would cost $666,371 a month, even at $1 CPM, just to run Clav's campaign alone, not even considering all of these other people.
Holy crap.
Literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars are being spent every month to do this. So who's doing it? Who's paying for this? right? That to me is one of the most interesting parts, because a couple of things, right? Number one, there are not many people that can set up campaigns like this. We're talking like management of hundreds of people, and like this is a lead operator marketer stuff. This is not like streamers. Okay. Very few of these streamers are running these campaigns themselves. There are people that are doing it. Like there are streamers that are running these campaigns themselves, like to lesser degrees. And I mean, you could also just have 3 people in your Discord do clips for you, and you could run a campaign like this yourself. But when I'm talking about these big Discord operations, these are being funded. And it's really interesting to see who is actually funding them and what is actually going on here. Because with respect to the streamers, I don't think that most streamers are really business oriented. That's just been my experience being a top talent manager for many years. I don't think that, and now I'm an agent on the brand side. I've worked with thousands of influencers, great entertainers, mostly not the sharpest tools in the shed when it comes to business, with a few exceptions. So they're not going to run campaigns like this. Who is running these campaigns? Well, let's go back to our friend Clavicular and see what he says about it.
Someone says, what about botting the views then? Well, your account gets shut down. The platforms are really good about catching the botted views. So even if you bought one video, you're shut down and you don't make any more money. See, the entire point is that you get authority on an account and you're able to post multiple videos that get multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you keep collecting money. If you're a retard and you literally try to bot a video and collect $75, you bought it to 100, you get shadow banned, and now you just capped your earnings at one time $75. And then you go, but what if you just make more accounts? Okay, then I'm gonna just see constantly brand new accounts with one video that got 100,000 views, and then it just dies off. So, like, you got to use your brain here. You actually want to be good at editing so that you can have an authoritative account, so that you can get into any of these campaigns, and any fucking clip you post gets hundreds of thousands, millions of views, because you built up an account with good history and authority. And then you constantly make money and you collect the lion's share of the winnings. Give me that view bot. Give me that. My brain goes to scamming first. Give me that. But how can you scam? We got that third world logic coming through.
This clip.
One of the fastest come ups in streaming. Absolutely.
Why do you think you're the fastest growing creator in the world right now?
I think I have a lot of strategies that are good for viral clipping engagement. I think Kick has helped push me a lot with their clipping budget. So, over 6 figures a month.
So Kick, over 6 figures a month.
And that campaign have been going towards pushing me out there to new audiences, because on Kick, there's not really a lot of growth, right? There's not as many users as Twitch, so people aren't organically coming across your streams. So they kind of have to incentivize people to stream on that platform in other ways. And one of the ways I go about it is with the Kick clipping program, where there's like a $20 or $30 CPM, and that kind of incentivizes people.
For the $20 and $30 CPM, he's referring to bounties, the system that we referred to before. The actual CPMs are much lower, but everything else he said is true. So that's right. The primary way that all of this is being funded is that Kick is literally paying for it, the platform. So the streaming platform Kick is quite literally paying for all of this. They are paying to the tune of actually millions of dollars a month to do this. Now, you might say, why? Do they really love their streamers so much that they just want...
So essentially, this is like the Wild West days. This Kick stuff, it's never been better to get into the Kick clipping ecosystem. Just like it was never better to get on that TikTok shit Andrew Tate was doing when Andrew Tate did it. When it was the Wild West and the algorithm wasn't holding you back, not as sophisticated, and literally pushing your video to anybody. Same shit with earlier with X. Once Elon took it, people's accounts, they blew up. You were getting millions of views for posting the shit that used to be censored. Wasn't. This is only, these kinds of openings rarely happen. And when they do, you better get on board. So, of course, these people that are in the right place at the right time, like Clavicular and the Kick ecosystem around it that's pushing him and paying tunes of millions of dollars. I mean, the bounty program said up to $30, which is crazy. So that means you're going to be making buku money. just to post clips on Kick and then repost the clips you just posted on Kick, repost them with all that watermark and other identifiers on all the other platforms. So you're literally on every platform, but drawing people over to Kick. That's crazy.
To feature their broadcasters. Well, I mean, that's like a part of it. But there's a couple more interesting things that are going on. So let's talk about the Kick funnel and what is happening. Now, you astute observer, you deep analysis person, you may have noticed a particular line right here. Now, this is the public discoursing. This is the public Discord for the clipping. Like if you want to start with clipping, you come here. But what if you want to be one of these Kick clippers? Well, you have to get into the Kick specific program, and there is an application once you have been established to get into that. That's the funnel. So you start in the free place, and then you eventually get into these invite only places. Genius. Where all of the secrets go. And the invite only places where all the secrets go are quite interesting. Okay. Because, I mean, we can't possibly know what goes on there because they're invite only, and no one would ever invite me, or would they? Okay. So, I did some underground journalism, got into a couple of these servers, and you can see here as the overlay guide. Let's read this. Please use the examples below to make sure the Kick logo and watermark placement is correct on all clips. The Kick overlay should always be clearly visible and placed so that it can be properly seen at all times. Make sure the overlay is sized and placed exactly in this guide before submitting. It must stay visible at all times, must remain clear or obstructed at all times, sized and placed to fit your clip exactly as shown in this guide. Some UI stuff here. Follow the examples. Incorrect logo placement may result in your clip being rejected. AKA, very important right there. That's kind of the key thing to focus on. If you do not put the Kick logo, as seen right here, onto your clips, you do not get paid. So every one of these multiple billions of views has that Kick logo square right into right in the bottom for the entire duration of the video, and every one of the clippers is doing that. That is why Kick is doing this. You must have the Kick banner on every clip. If you mess it up, there's no pay whatsoever. How are these influencers by Kick being chosen? I can't figure that out. I've gotten a lot of different people kind of like weighing in on that. Nearest I can tell, it's basically who you know at Kick. Now, they like technically offer this program via the Kick partner program, the KPP they call it. They offer it to any Kick partner, and I'm actually pretty confident that if you were a Kick partner, you could probably message somebody like some staff member and be like, "Hey, I want to be in on this," and you could probably do it. And I think to some degree they would feature you. But like, what determines that? Like these people get like featured over like these people, I think it's arbitrary. And also just that some of these people have like Clavicular like also just did really well when it comes to like the way that he gets viewership. It just worked. Like it actually helped him go viral, and a lot of the stuff that he did like went viral on its own once it got featured everywhere. So I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on with the Kick stuff. And it's a little bit iffy. So Kick is quite literally spending millions of dollars, like actually millions of dollars per month to promote broadcasters, and then they're also paying them on the back end through the partner program as well. And simultaneously, they're doing this as a marketing strategy to bring people to Kick. So this is a different approach. From like to understand this, we've got to kind of go back in time a little bit, and we have to understand how Twitch, the main live streaming website that has most of the viewers right now. Well, YouTube now has all those viewers, but it used to have a lot of the viewers. Their marketing strategy in 2015-ish, like 2012, this started. We'll talk about like the Twitch marketing strategy. Their marketing strategy was to pay streamers individually to stream on the platform, and they got bonuses based on how many viewers they had and like how many hours they streamed. And like the Twitch way of doing this was to offer contracts to streamers for flat rates plus like minimum guarantees and bonuses, with the idea of keeping them on the platform. This was an exclusive thing. Kick actually doesn't care about if you're like exclusive most of the time or not, except for their like very top people.
Yeah, I get paid to stream. I'm in their Kick partner program, but I'm not in that clipping shit. I'm not chosen. I'm not one of the chosen ones. and there's probably somebody to message there to probably get chosen, but the stream would have to do obviously much better numbers. I'd most likely have to pay for these campaigns. The campaigns go big, and then you approach Twitch or Kick and you go, hey, I'm already running campaigns. Look how uber successful they are. My videos are going viral. Put me on that list. And then once Kick puts you on that list and starts pushing you, you've made it. It's over.
People. So the marketing strategy that Twitch used to use was to pay before they ran out of money, and like Amazon basically cut their budget. I mean, they're a ghost ship now, right? But before they basically cut their budget, this was how Twitch operated. So Kick has looked at this, and Kick has said, you know what? We want to go a different route. And they're using a playbook that they used at Stake. Stake is the kind of partner company to Kick. I know they don't like that they don't like that association, but I mean, like literally when I was on the podcast with the owner of, to me, it's like if your executives are cross-sectional decision makers on each, like,
let me see the other portions and then we'll
it
move
would
on.
be
We got the gist
such
of
an
it.
honor. You could go check out my Patreon page. My algorithm is actually getting tricked. Like I says, everybody wants to talk about the volcano. I'm going to push the volcano. So imagine what kind of signal it sends when you have 550,000 clips in a month, in 30 days, talking about this guy. The algorithm just goes, this is the most important person in the world. This guy wants everybody to talk about him. So if you've like had that experience of like you just like open anywhere and you're like, it's like clavicular. You're like, what is looks match? I don't even care about this guy. I never even Googled anything like this. What is happening? It's because the algorithm is actually getting tricked. Like I promised you, this is not a bait video. Like this is actually a game system. They are uploading so many clips and the volume is so much that it's just telling the algorithm, hey, you should talk about this person nonstop. He's blowing up. This is the most important thing in the world. So what is so crazy about this, and this is the nuttiest thing about this video, like it's just not an exaggeration that content creation isn't about being interesting or engaging anymore. Like the previous type of content creation where you had to like have like a personality, and like I'm not saying that like some of these creators don't have these personalities. It's subjective, right? Like what is good content and what isn't is like a very subjective thing. But I will tell you, like I guess subjectively, in my opinion, that a lot of the people on this list are boring as hell, and you might agree with that, or they're just outright just like not like kind of like skeezy type of people, right? Like some of them are great, but like
I think most people would agree to that. Yeah.
Like some of them are legitimately just boring as hell. Doesn't matter. You have 70,000 clips. You go anywhere you want. It's just not going to make a difference what your content is. And that kind of fundamentally undermines like the whole purpose of like what content creation was kind of is. Like content creation was kind of a voting system. It was kind of like, oh, like we think this guy like Mark Rober is interesting, so we're gonna like watch his video, and then everyone's like, yay, that video is gonna do well.
It all went to shit. You see? It all went to shit. This is the system now. You pay to play. Hey, dude, everything is pay to play these days. Pay to win. Life is pay to win. If you got enough money to run a fat campaign, you're gonna make it. I've been doing this shit wrong for years, constantly at the behest of the algorithm, getting suppressed, while these people were brute forcing. I had no idea about shit, just brute forcing their way to success. These people aren't interesting, not particularly smart. One dude doesn't know what the fucking egg is, where it comes from, gets millions of views. Okay. Well, I can make content for days. It's entertaining enough without needing to pay to win. So I'm about to pay my way into the mainstream also. And you might see me plastered all over the fucking place. Okay. We understand the game now. So I'll do those campaigns with some of the homies in the school community. If you're in the private school community and you want to run campaigns like this, we'll do the same set. I'm about to sign up for these. I'm shelling out some money. Why not? It seems like the more you reinvest in this, and the more campaigns you do, the more you blow up, the more money you earn. It's a loop. It's a constant loop until you hit like escape velocity, and that's it. The system is enclosed. and it just pumps money. It just produces dollar signs. That's how you have to do this. Gotcha. I know for a fact I got videos that would go fucking viral if I could break through that mainstream algorithm, break through, just brute force my way out there. I know you guys have seen, you know.
And then Mark Rober was like, wow, I got rewarded for that. I'll make more videos. And like, so the cycle goes. Somebody gave a lot of money to somebody and said, hey, we're going to pay for 69,000 views and 2,000 people full time to just literally spam social media with all of this stuff. And that's also why, like that, what that also does is that drives down the quality of the clips as well, because if there have already been 51,775 clips submitted, and then you watch the 51,776th one, it doesn't have to be interesting content. Like, it's your lived experience is you just watch a bad.
I'm saying, what do you mean you've been doing it wrong for years? We watched you for years, brother. Yet here we are. Yeah, but imagine if I did this. Imagine how many more people there would be. Imagine we wouldn't have to be, you know, at the whims of YouTube. Can you imagine how many people, if I just reinvested in these campaigns over the years, constantly getting pushed, we'd have tens of thousands watching on the live stream. Wow.
A dank 911 donated $5. Give me until next year after I move. Be my first client. I won't even need upfront payment. I'll make $sign after it goes viral.
Yeah. That's great. This system is genius, man. Genius. I didn't know about it because the previous way I knew how Andrew Tate did it. He exploited TikTok, but he paid. He paid through his community of 50,000 whatever members of that Discord server he has. He pretty much came up with that, and he was just paying people. Like, once you get enough views, you get a payout. And he blew up on TikTok. And then after that, it was game over. The kind of influence you get after that, you can go on any platform, you make hundreds of thousands of views. Platforms then want you and pay you to be on their platforms. You get exclusivity deals. You get all this shit. Yep. Here we go. Good thing to have on the mind, eh? We now understand how the game really works. It's manufactured. All right, we got a funny one. You guys sent me this. I thought I'd like being cucked. Turns out he didn't. I don't think we've watched this. I don't believe we've watched this. We may have watched this already. Does anybody remember if we've watched this before? I don't think we've watched this. But I've been watching so much. So many videos. I don't know. If we watch this, I don't remember it. Let's just get into it.
Now, before I begin, there are two things that you need to know about my ex-wife. Hey everybody, I want to talk a little bit about my experience being cocked, particularly something that happened between me and...
Being cocked. I'm getting uncanny vibes here. I feel like we might have watched this before.
My ex-wife. Now, before I begin, there are two things that you need to know about my ex-wife. Okay, number one, she loved...
Is this satire content? Is this the same bald dude that was yelling in his car?
Getting jiggy with it, right? She loved it. She was like an animal. And she died. So that was kind of like a chicken and the egg scenario, you know, divorce, death, which came first. But point is, whichever way you slice it, she's out of my life. I never knew if, you know, if your partner dies, does that automatically mean they're your ex? You know, but anyway, this is not normally a story that I probably would feel comfortable telling because it's very personal, right? But the reason that I wanted to tell it was because, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've sort of been blowing up lately, you know? And so I feel like now I have a little bit more of a platform, and that allows me to sort of provide people a perspective on things that they wouldn't normally see. For example, cucking is kind of a joke, right? It's sort of considered a punchline in our culture. And for me, it's the exact opposite, because I have always struggled with insecurity, dysfunction in the bedroom and everywhere else. I mean, if you've watched this YouTube channel for more than 5 seconds, you probably could tell that I'm very mentally ill, right? So cucking for me is...
I can't believe this is real. I just won't. I'll just go with the assumption that he is role-playing somebody that would be into this kind of stuff.
Sort of more of a therapeutic exercise, right? It's sort of an emotional, ritualistic sort of thing. And
it isn't. He's known for this content.
basically,
Lord.
like I said, I had a very, very difficult time my entire life sort of making it happen in the terms of intimacy. And so it really wasn't until my ex-wife and I got together and then really got to know each other and got comfortable with each other that I was able to have anything remotely resembling physical intimacy. And so even when it was good, you know, even when it was even the best night that we had, I was still, it would be over and I would think, you know, I would obsess over, were you faking it? Would you rather be with somebody else? Do you wish it was your ex? You know, all this stuff. And I would grill her basically every night about all these things. And then that started to spill over into my daily life. You know, that would become, are you cheating on me? You know, why aren't you texting me back? Why aren't you calling me? Do you even love me? All this stuff. And it got very, 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 very difficult for both of us. And that really started to sort of fray our relationship, you know, and it started to, I remember very vividly one night, I had a dream. That's not like Martin Luther King, not that kind of dream. I hope he didn't have a dream like this, because otherwise he would be pretty freaky. I don't know, he's kind of hot, you know, maybe it's... Anyway, I had a dream. Now I can't stop thinking about Martin Luther King. I had a nightmare. Let's say that. I have a nightmare. Evil Dr. King, right? I had a nightmare where my wife...
He's good at this. He's a comedian. He's good at this.
Wife was engaging in an act of physical intimacy in front of me, and I couldn't do anything about it, and she was doing it to humiliate me. She was tormenting me with it, right? And it started to become a recurring nightmare. And eventually I brought this up to her, and I said, I've been having this dream where you, at the time I didn't know exactly that that's what it was called, cucking. But I told her, I have been having this nightmare where you physically, or you torment me.
Maybe he's autistic or retarded. I mean, that could be the case. I don't know.
Psychologically and physically, you know, in this way. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get YouTube to get all pissy with me, but yeah, basically, yeah, I told her, and she said, I thought she would think it was funny, but she really did not. And she said, you know what? I am getting sick of you having this idea of me in your head, this figment of your imagination who is evil, right? You have invented a version of me that is evil and is trying to ruin your life, and you think that's me, right? You projected that onto me. So that's what's causing all the problems in our relationship. And at the time, I was sort of like, okay, lesson learned. Don't tell you anything ever again, right? Zip. But, you know, after I started to think about it, and I started to realize she was exactly right. I was right on the money. And I sort of sat with this for a little bit, and I you know, I started to I worked with my therapist trying to figure out how to sort of get the evil version of her out of my head. But it was just, it's very, very deep-seated problems that I have. So basically, one night we had an argument. And it was about something so dumb, I don't even remember what it was, but basically the you know how it's like every argument isn't really about the thing that it's about. It's about it's like most couples have the same argument over and over again their entire relationship, right? Same thing. And that's definitely the case with us. And it got to a point where she said, what do? We cannot continue going on like this. So we have to either do something or end it. And I, as a joke, said, well, why don't we have a threesome, you know? And I was expecting her to laugh. I was trying to break the tension with that. But her reaction was like, really? And I could tell that she was actually interested. And I said, well, I was joking, but you know, I was at a place where I feel like I'm such a pathetic loser in relationships. I was at a place where I was ready to do anything. You're going to probably hear the rest of the story and you're going to say, you're so stupid. But you have to understand, I was in a place where I would do anything to just have her love me again, right?
I can't believe you sent me this video. We're an hour in, dude. I want to taste the Remington listening to this guy.
Anything to have her to just fix it. And I didn't know at the time, nothing will do that. It's not.
And what sucks is even if he's storytelling as a comedian, even if it's all a fake act for YouTube, whatever, there are guys like this. Lots. Too many.
Possible. But so
what's going on, Ascendant?
When I said the threesome remark and she said she was interested, I said, you know, I was just joking. But if you are interested, then I'll think about it. And she said, you know what? Yeah. And the reason why she said that was because this is probably important context I should have mentioned earlier. She was polyamorous before we got married. So she sort of lived her whole life, you know, slinging it all around town, and everybody was just supposed to be fine with that, you know. And I made that an ultimatum. I said, I cannot do that. So either it's probably not going to work between the two of us. But we fell so in love that she was willing to give that up for me. And
no, we're struggling together. I'm not changing this because the horror is coming soon. If we're going to live through 8 minutes of the warm up to the horror, we have to hear it.
I'm talking about it now. I don't think I ever really appreciated that the way that I should have. And that's my bad. I did a lot of things wrong up until this point, right? Well, and still. Anyway, she said, okay, let's do a threesome. So I was like, okay, you know, sort of hesitantly, but I figured I could let her have this because she gave in to me to get married, and so I can give in to her a little bit. Compromise, right?
You fucking what, bro? She gave in to marry you? We live in an inverse world. Hold on. Men are now making women give in to marriage. And then payback is she gets to fuck everybody else. What?
So I sat with it for a few more days, and then I came to her. I had sort of, I do a lot of surfing on the internet, you know, and so it's almost impossible to not find something about cucking in some way or shape or form, you know. And I had sort of stumbled into a Reddit community centered around it, and it was very cool. You know, there were very like-minded people, and we all sort of shared similar desires. And
first gap in his story, he said he didn't know what cucking was at the time. Now, all of a sudden, he's browsing the internet, and now he knows what cucking is. He's good at storytelling. I'll give him that. Like, very good. He's above average intelligence for sure, because you need to be able to hold all these strings together of the storyline in your head, and he's probably doing this off the cuff. If he's doing this off the cuff, that's great. He's really good at making videos like this.
Similar problems.
But we're just saying, as an example, this is a perfect example of the real men that are out there, and actually he's able to dive into the mentality of how these guys end up like this, which is fucking insane.
And, you know, so I had sort of been, as I was thinking about the threesome, I was like, well, I don't really feel like that would be good because I can barely make one person happy in the sack, let alone two, you know? So I said to her, what if instead of a threesome, you get with somebody else and you do it in front of me and I watch, right? And at first she laughed. This wasn't a joke. She thought this one was a joke. And she said, "You want me to cuck you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's I know it's considered a joke, but I said, yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe there's a concept in therapy called exposure therapy, okay? And that is basically when if you have a fear or a phobia, you expose yourself to the fear or phobia so that you see it's not a big deal and you get over it. So if you're afraid of bees, kick a bee's nest. If you're a germaphobe, stick a sandwich in a toilet and eat it, or lick your own. I don't know. Point is, you expose yourself to the phobia, and then you see that it's not a big deal. So I said, my worst nightmare, literally my worst nightmare, is that I'm getting cucked. So what if it just happens, and then I'm like, okay, the worst thing that could ever happen happened. Now we can move on. Now I can stop living in fear of this thing happening constantly, and we can actually have a good marriage. It was a good idea. Even now that I'm saying it again, it seems like a good idea. But, okay, so I presented this to her with all my reason, and she said, okay. And she was really interested. A little too interested. That was probably the first red flag, but at the time I didn't really. So the next question became, should we pick somebody who we both know or a stranger? And at first I thought it would be better with somebody that we knew, because then we can sort of talk about it and process things and all have a discussion. We could even maybe go to throuples therapy, Look at me now, I'm becoming poly and I got tricked into it. Anyway.
This is like your average Redditor, right?
Then, we sort of started to realize, well, if it's, we were going down the list of people who were contenders from our social circles, and I was realizing, I can't start going to trivia night and picturing you railing my wife every single time I'm trying to figure out, who the 12th president was. So we said, maybe it would be better to have a stranger. But then that became a daunting task in and of itself, because we were sort of like, well, do we go on Craigslist? Like what, and then eventually I sort of said, look, the whole point of this is that it is supposed to be humiliating for me, and it is supposed to be, so I'm going to give you the reins. You do whatever you want. You do it with whoever you want. And I just have to suck it up. That's the whole point. It's not just in the moment, it's the lead up and everything surrounding it. It's a psychological thing. So she said, okay, and I said, I promise.
Holy fuck, bro. I don't even know what the fuck. What is wrong with the dudes?
It is okay. Never say that. So we picked out a date. Well, she picked out a date and said, you're going to do this. And that was what I wanted, So she said, we're going to do this here. It's going to be at the house. Another mistake. It's going to be with this person who I found on Hinge. And there we go. It's going to be great. So that night comes, and I'm very, 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 very nervous. I'm sort of, that's anxiety inducing, but another mistake that I made was that I sort of had an attitude of just power through it, because it's like mouthwash. The pain means that it's working. This is supposed to hurt. So the pain is good. Suck it up and get through it. So I probably would have stopped sooner had I had all the information that I have now in the future, but I didn't. So the time rolls around, I can't focus at work because I'm thinking about it. And then the night rolls around. It was a Friday night. And there's a knock at the door. He's here, right? She had told me she'd never met this guy before. And she was acting like she had never met this guy before. But as soon as she opened the door, I could swear there was a little bit of it was like a flicker of recognition. It was like they said, oh, nice to meet you, hi, how are you? My name's so-and-so. But the look in her eye seemed like she knew who this person was. But I can't say anything because I'm going to sound like a crazy person. But that was sort of a stomach drop moment, you know, but I said, no, it's all in your head because I'm paranoid about everything else. How do I know what's right and what's not?
This is fucking mind-numbing.
So I said, okay, whatever.
How many of you have actually ended up in this situation? Maybe nobody in the chat. How many people that will watch this video back is relating to this guy going, yeah, that was a bad idea. Shouldn't have done that. Yep, I remember when I got cooked.
He comes in and you know, they're sort of like, well, should we make small talk or do you want to get into it? We had put out a little charcuterie board. You know, my wife likes doing that kind of stuff. Probably should have been another red flag how into it she was getting, you know. It was like it was going to be a date. She had lit candles and, you know, cheese and all this stuff.
Holy
A
shit.
damp 911 donated $5. Can I ban the person that recommended this video? LOL face rolling on the floor laughing.
I have the email right here. The dude literally wrote, where was it? Oh, yeah. His name is Josh. I won't say his last name. But it's a Josh. A Josh sent this. Bro, this is literally the craziest shit I've ever seen. Holy shit. Be warned, you'll probably want to K your after you watch it. KYS, eh? Remingtons. They're being thought about right now. Then another guy sends me another fucking link and he goes, hey bro, I think this is a channel you'd really like to check out. Has sever, he couldn't spell severe correctly, hate boner for this man, along with Elon Musk, who has threatened to sue him if he ever gets back on X. This guy has talked about C-demic so much more, plus 10 years ago before they happened. YouTube literally censored him. Yeah, bro, let me cover the guy that gets banned. And then you don't even give me a video. You just tell me. I won't regret it. I think your community should check out his live streams. Bro, really? Really, bro? You gonna message me a long shit like that and not even a fucking link to a specific video? Okay, dog. We should go through my email so you can see how fucking horrible and absolutely mind-numbingly, brain-rottingly, retard-inducingly bad they are.
At Count Chad the Impaler donated $5. This video is making me upset off. I never filmed any of the FMF threesomes I've done with women. I need deprogramming now after the bald dude.
Holy fuck. This is insanity, bro. Another dude. I've been editing videos for over 2 years working with creators of amassed over 100 million. I've noticed that your videos are already amazing. Bros doesn't even provide anything from my videos. Thanks, dog. No thanks. Dude, they're horrible. Some of these recommendations, if I literally watched every video recommended, the channel would die the next day. You got dudes, I think half the videos are people pushing their own channels or something. They'll link me a video with like 58 views. Hey bro, you gotta watch this video, it's fire. 58 views. All right.
And wine.
This one's actually decent. It's so cringy. Like, shout outs to Josh. He has a bunch of them listed here. Obviously, not all of them are going to be good, but we got a couple people that send a ton of videos in. Can't get to all of them, but yeah. It's a good one in the sense that it is cringe-inducing.
So he starts having crackers and you know, talking about all just the weather and all this stuff. And then eventually they say, okay, it's time. Like they started acting like they had been talking about this before. And maybe that wasn't exactly something that I had said. No, that's for no. But still, it was weird that it seemed like they were the team and I wasn't. I guess I'm complaining about exactly what I wanted, and I told her that. But I don't know. It's just all these things I was starting to really, 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 really get agitated and anxious. And I should have stopped it. I should have said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. But I didn't, because I thought that was supposed to be good. I thought that was the way it was supposed to go. So they say, okay, we are going to start. Let's go in the bedroom. So I walked in, and I felt like I was about to puke. I sit in a chair that we had positioned there, the cuck chair, right? I sit down, and knowing probably what I should have done was face the dude and see the back of my wife's head, because what sunk me was I sat behind the guy and I saw my wife's face straight on. So I was looking at her face, processing every single micro expression that she was emitting. She walked over to the guy and she was so excited. The look on her face of excitement when she was coming up to him and leaning in, and she was like, I can't do it. But it was a look that I had never seen before in my life. She was excited in a way that I had never seen before in my life. She was conveying an emotion that I'd never seen before. And that broke me. That was what pushed me over the edge. Because I knew there's no coming back from this. There's no coming back from knowing. This is a person who I thought that I have learned inside and out, right? And now I'm seeing that is not the case. She has been hiding this part of herself from me. Not hiding it, but it's just I've never seen it before. So that probably means there's a lot else that I haven't seen. Maybe it's my fault. We can argue that until the cows come home. But
fucking
point is,
hell.
I was realizing the true depth of how over our relationship was. And it was sort of like I had an out-of-body experience. Because all of a sudden I got up and I said, stop. And she got upset and she was like, what's the problem? It's annoyed. She was annoyed with me for stopping. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. She said, well, you said it was okay. And I said, I know I said that now, but now I'm taking it back. And I was getting more and more and more and more upset.
We're almost done.
At that point, I was 75% sure that we were getting a divorce. But she could have saved it. When she was annoyed with me for stopping, it went up to 90. And then I said, you know what? Goodbye. It's over. You two do whatever the hell you want in here, because you don't have to worry about me anymore. And I walked out. And I slammed the door behind me, and I walked down, and I got in my car. And I sat in the car. Nobody came out after me. I waited for 5 minutes in that car like a loser, like a pathetic asshole. 5 minutes. I sat there waiting for somebody to come out, and nobody did. That's when I became 100%. She didn't come out.
We have a spike here. What is it? I can't hear any more of this shit.
Funeral crap with me. And eventually I just said, listen, we got a divorce the night before. We said it's over. So I don't want to be involved in this, okay? This is your problem. You deal with it. Leave me out of it. I don't want to be involved. And they assumed that I was grieving. And so they said, no, it's
What the fuck is this? This has to be the guy who was yelling in his car. It is him. I remember this video. This is the one I remember. Uh-huh. What are these titles, bro? I saw my grandma pleasing herself. I accidentally came during a job interview. I'm not gay. I saw this one, everything about life sucks. This is slop. This is, yeah. Comedy channel. Clearly, that's a real story for somebody. Probably not him. Josh, why did you send me this? Like, you really fell for this? You thought this was real? This is going to be good?
At AbJG6JZ donated $2. Click the one that says I'm not gay. Funny as hell.
I am not gay. I am straight. I'm straight. I like women only, not men. I am not gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay, but I'm not. Okay?
This is exactly what I'm talking about when they email me videos and say, you gotta watch this. He really wrote this.
At AbJG6JZ donated $2. Click the one that says I'm not gay. Funny as hell. A damp 911 donated $5. He's worse than a woman. I don't blame her for not coming out after him. Jesus Christ, I can't stand these kinds of guys.
I need to refresh my... I can't even watch what I want to watch. I don't think we're allowed to watch some of these on YouTube, so that's fine. Seeing third worlders drowning themselves, that's funny. Can't watch this on YouTube. I'll give you the gist of what happens. We'll watch this on Kick another time. He jumps in the water. There's a kid in a tube floating next to him. The person recording on camera and friends standing by. Third worlder jumps in water, proceeds to start actually drowning. Nobody has the IQ and the self-awareness or the humanity present to jump in to save him. The kid just kicks around in the tube around the guy as he's drowning. Proceeds to drown, does the whole... He drowned already, just floating, sinking to the bottom of the water. Happens again here, same shit. I mean, it just looks normal. I want to watch it so bad, but we got to go on Kick only. I don't think you could show people dying, even if it's drowning. Okay. My brain, that video alone fried my fucking brain. Like, do I even want to get into this? Should we get into politics like Iran and what's going on? Or this video. Why everyone wants the 2000s back? Andy Pants Gaming. So what happened to video games? Okay, let's see. Is there music on this?
Races? Ooh, we...
Okay, no.
Question we've all...
Okay, cool. Well, let's refresh our brain with something like this. So Andy Pants Gaming, why everyone wants the 2000s
all been haunted
back.
by as we tried to fall asleep at night. Why have video game budgets and graphical fidelity skyrocketed the past 20 years while games themselves have gotten objectively worse? At age 43, people tell me, you're just nostalgic. But then I see 20-year-olds preferring games from the 2000s to modern slop as well. Doesn't that pretty much prove these games were objectively better? Classics like Metal Gear Solid 3, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy X, San Andreas, and God of War put modern slop to shame. But if games from the 2000s had less pixels, less hardware, less gigabytes, how could they possibly be better? This is the question I want to explore in this video, and I think it begins with understanding 2000s culture. Safe, overly sensitive 2025 culture today.
What am I looking at here? Holy crap.
Fear Factor threw people into pits of snakes. Jackass had people getting gored by bulls and firing bottle rockets out of their buttholes. American Idol had Simon Cowell tearing people apart on stage. Gordon Ramsay was putting bread on fat women's heads and calling them idiot sandwiches. Tropic Thunder had Ben Stiller making fun of retards and Robert Downey Jr. white chicks. Nicolas Cage dominated the box office. 2000s culture did not give an F. We pretty much peaked as a society. What makes this game so iconic is it's basically like playing a corny B-action movie from the 90s. You're saving the president's daughter, you're fighting a giant fish, you encounter hilarious villains like Ramon Salazar and Krauser. The entire time, Leon is just flirting with hot women and delivering epic one-liners while doing backflips. The one word to describe this game is just fun. Although RE4 Remake is definitely better than most of the slop coming out these days, I feel like they took a bunch of the edgy stuff out and I will always prefer the original. Racing games. So I feel like the only racing games coming out these days are simulator type racing games, your Forzas, your Gran Turismos, with $10 trillion horse testicle shading, and honestly, I think they're boring as hell. If you're an old head like me, you remember when racing games were way edgier and funnier like Twisted Metal and Destruction Derby. What I really miss is when racing games prioritized...
Are there even racing games anymore today besides those Forza wannabes that are... I don't know, they try to make them as close to real life as possible and they have no souls. Like what happened in Need for Speed? You guys remember? I remember, what was it? Underground 2? Need for Speed Underground Racing 2? Where you were pimping out your car? Or Need for Speed Underground? Whichever one. I can't remember. How that was like peak Need for Speed.
Fun over realism. Fun is always more important than realism, and I feel like modern racing games have forgotten this.
Gaming is fucking gay. I don't care how you slice it. If you game as an adult, you're not a real man. Damn.
Burnout
Shots fired in the comments.
Revenge is a great example.
Jeez.
This game is so insane and over the top. Each race, you have a different objective: wreck the most cars, take out opponents, finish the track fastest. The game just prioritized fun and insanity and wrecks, and it didn't care about realism, man. It was just fun. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit is another game from this era. You can call in helicopters, fire EMP pulses at other cars, and lay down spike strips. And every race is really intense. You're basically just either playing as the cops or playing as the bad guys, and you're trying to get away. Even all the way back on the original PlayStation, one of my favorite racing games of all time was Wipeout XL. It had this badass techno soundtrack, just awesome music, peak graphic design, weapons you could fire, and close races. It was really a different era of racing games focusing on fun. Metal Gear Solid 3. MGS3 is often cited as one of the greatest video games of all time because it had this amazing, edgy, and over-the-top story coupled with some of the greatest gameplay of all time. I have no idea what Kojima is doing now, but
haven't they made gaming really shit anyways? The games are propagandized, and then there's like AI bots that are listening to your conversation so you could get banned mid-gameplay for saying bad words. So aren't all the lobbies censored today? Plus,
this ain't it, Chief.
What
Solid Snake in amazing boss fights, delivering
What the fuck was that?
Liners, flirting with all the hot women, difficult and hard as hell gameplay that really challenged you as a player. It was peak. Dead Rising 1 and 2. Dead Rising 3 and 4 were made by Microsoft.
Yeah, and then there's like LGBTQ flags. They've changed all the women and made them fat and ugly, and the games are bland. They hold your hand. There's auto aim. There's nothing. None of the games are even difficult anymore. And half the times they release them in broken states, no?
And our dog water. So if you want to experience peak Capcom, I think you need to play RE4, Dead Rising 2, and Devil May Cry. Again, what makes these games so good is they just didn't give a crap, dude. They were like, hot chicks? Yeah, of course. Funny dialogue? Of course. Edgy dialogue? Yeah, of course. Hilarious and over-the-top villains and story? Yeah, of course. Badass and awesome weapons? Yeah, of course. But another thing that made 2000s games so iconic is often they're like really, really hard. For example, in Dead Rising 1, you could just run out of time in the middle of a playthrough of the game and you're just done and you have to restart. And I love how punishing and uncompromising old 2000s games were in this way. Crackdown. So Crackdown is a super edgy game from 2007.
I played that. That game was fire.
Where you play as a cop, just beating the shit out of people. It's wonderful. You run around and collect giant green orbs, which is just a viscerally satisfying thing to do. The edgy thing this game had was that different gangs correlated to different races. Ooh, we can't do that anymore because we're just pussified now as a culture. So the Shy Jin were a really funny Asian stereotype. Los Muertos were a funny Mexican stereotype, and the Volk were a funny Eastern European / Borat stereotype. I think what made later Crackdown games so bad is they took everything that made this game edgy and funny and just watered it down or removed it so it really wasn't the same game anymore. Silent Hill 2. Again, the Silent Hill 2 remake.
And isn't everybody waiting on the next GTA? Every game sucks. What is there today? All I see people playing today that's left is a battle royale skin of some kind of game or League of Legends, or what the fuck is even left in competitive games? Is there even anything? So you're playing Call of Duty Battle Royale, or what's that other one? Some other shit.
Is fine, and
that's also a battle royale. Pretty much every game now is a battle royale version.
Still better than most of the slop out today, but it's nowhere near as disturbing and good as the original. So just play the original. They had to make the main chick ugly.
I mean, Battlefield 6. You know what? Battlefield, I liked, what was it? Battlefield 3, I think. All of them look really good. And then I think Battlefield 3 was the last decent one, and everything that came out after that sucked. And then you had the cheaters, man. Like, the cheaters ruined that shit. These games were so fun, like, so immersive. Imagine getting dropped off in a huge map like that. And then you get the stupid cheaters with the auto aim and all that shit. Like, PC gaming was ruined. They don't really have a good anti-cheat system. Consoles were better for cheaters, but they still were there too. And then the issue was, well, you're gaming on a fucking console, and most of those games sucked. The only really good console games that were fire were like Halo, and, you know, Call of Duty series were pretty decent on that shit. And you were never getting the max graphical fidelity that the PC were getting. So you're always screwed in some way.
Because, of course.
And I loved StarCraft. StarCraft 2 is fire. They fucked up the balance of the game. They made it more noob friendly. Damn, where's StarCraft 3 at? Where's the movie for StarCraft? That shit looks so fire. All the Blizzard CGI is amazing.
It's a bunch of gay Jews running things. But does anybody remember when you first encounter Pyramid Head and he's like strangling / having sex with one of those mannequins? It's like one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen, and I'm going to blur it out here on screen because you're probably not here for that. But my point is just how edgy and badass games in the 2000s were. Konami out here like, yeah, of course we're going to traumatize a bunch of 8-year-old kids with the most disturbing scene ever. Silent Hill 2 was the kind of game spoken of in hushed tones at the lunch table in 2001. Medal of Honor. So this one is kind of random, but I was playing Medal of Honor European Assault on the original Xbox the other day, and this game is super patriotic because our culture is just full of beta cuck soy boys now, and being patriotic is somehow considered edgy. Basically, the music of the game wants you to feel like you are this heroic American badass fighting in World War II. It's awesome. Another thing I love about this game is just how good it feels to play. The game wants you to feel like a hero. The way the guns shoot and move is really satisfying. I know Medal of Honor got dominated by Call of Duty starting in 2007, but this 2005 game really shows you what I think is sort of peak Medal of Honor before it went down. San Andreas, Manhunt, and Bully. So we all know Rockstar is gay, woke, and soft now because of all the women working at the company. We can see this in the safe, sanitized slop they have been putting into GTA Online the past 5 years. But did you know there was a time Rockstar was absolutely peak edgelord and constantly pushed the envelope? GTA San Andreas invented the famous hot coffee mod. Tons of sexual references. Think about that now. Manhunt had absolutely brutal and nihilistic
Probably not safe for the stream, just saying.
killing by the
Honestly.
player. Can you imagine some 10-year-old playing this game on the screen and his parents walking in? Wild. Zooming out a bit more, I think what the PS2 and Xbox had was simply just...
Damn, look at that Xbox, dude. I remember when that fucker came out. I had it on release day. Wow, 6th grade. I came home from school, I think on a Thursday. Was the Thursday the release day? My dad waited in line for me. Goat. Came home, had this fucker. Beautiful. First game popped in there was what? Halo? It was Halo and Mech Assault. Oh my God. Got on there, bro. Online. The very first game online. Mech Assault. I believe it was Mech Assault. And then I couldn't believe I was playing with other people. I couldn't stop. Couldn't focus on school. Nothing. Then Halo 2 comes out. Game over. Life was over. That was it. The greatest online game ever, at least for that time. The first to do matchmaking. The first to let you hear what other people were saying. Wow. The memories. I still have friends I made from that.
Variety, Guitar Hero, Medal of Honor, COD, GTA, Final Fantasy X, Soul Calibur, God of War, Twisted Metal, Jak and Daxter, Tekken, Simpsons Hit and Run, Kingdom Hearts, SSX, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Back then, we didn't have all these games that were just copies of other games.
GameCube, of course, for Smash Bros. And stuff like that. You'd have little LAN parties. So what's your audience demographics? I feel young as fuck. How old are you?
It was way more likely that a game would be unique back then. Possibly the most indicting number that it shows you what dog shit video games are now is the number of exclusives that came out. So the original PS2 had about 4,000 games. Of these games, some people estimate that about 1,500 of these games were exclusives to the PS2. Guess how many exclusives PS5 has? Wait for it. 15, dude.
What?
The PS5 has 15 exclusives, and the PS2 had 1,500 exclusives.
Damn, gaming
And it gets
changed.
even worse because have you noticed how boring the exclusives that PS5 even has are?
Has it really gotten that
Horizon
bad?
Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, Death Stranding 2. These are all kind of the same dog shit third-person over-the-shoulder cinematic slop game, aren't they? They're just boring as hell. They take no risks. And of course, they're full of just gay, degenerate LGBTQ propaganda. I mean, compare these 4 games, which are supposed to be the best that the PS5 has to offer, and compare that with the catalog of the PS2. We used to have variety, man. Developers actually used to care about what they were making, and fun was always the primary motivation.
Does everything just turn to shit once it gets commodified and turn into just pure profit? Everything, huh? From food, from games, to movies, to shows, to nothing's good anymore. Nothing's good. You have to get on the ground floor when the thing is new. Same shit with online communities. They're good when they're small, barely started. You have all the people that are down to post high quality content and information, and then it grows big, and then it matures, and it turns to shit. You know, the tragedy of the commons, right? It just gets too big, too normie. All shit. Video games, same thing. When video games were male dominated, men only, still seen as some kind of nerdy thing, not everybody was into them. They had to actually make video games for the people that actually played them. Now everybody games. You can find chicks on Twitch streaming with their tits out, gaming. And now they have to make games for the idiots that don't actually play games and are not gamers. And it's shit. It's boring. It's watered down.
Of making a game. So what changed, boys? What killed 2000s culture and also killed video games? And it's quite simple. Redditors, soy boy beta cucks, progressive white women, LGBTQ degenerates, trans people, and Jews. The feminization of culture, the gayification of culture, the pussification of culture.
I mean, look at these characters. What the fuck is even this?
My wife was recently watching some woke Netflix documentaries, and the point of the documentaries was how, quote, toxic and problematic The Biggest Loser and America's Next Top Model were. If you remember, those were reality shows in the 2000s. I never really watched either of these shows, but apparently they were funny, edgy, and hilarious. Coaches would yell at fat people and tell them to get their fat ass back on a treadmill. Tyra Banks, who actually sounds based as hell, would roast the shit out of women who wanted to be models. It sounds great. And guys, it all goes back to fuck your feelings. We had balls in the 2000s. You don't like it? Cry about it. Stop being a little bitch. These Netflix documentaries perfectly capture what fucking pussies progressive.
Oh, I remember this scene. Gay wizard superpowers. They just couldn't help themselves. They ruined the entire show and just inserted gay superpowers and had a whole coming out scene for something that didn't really exist in the 70s, right? The show is based in, what, the 70s, 80s? Like, nobody was that accepting.
Have become today. They talk about how, quote,
oh my lord,
problematic Tyra Banks and Jillian Michaels were, even though all they were doing is telling fat asses to get back on the treadmill. I think this is a perfect analogy to what we are seeing today and why video games have become so bad. And we only have ourselves to blame because we allowed trans people, gay men, and women to work at these companies. Old games were...
Damn, just call them out, bro, right away. I like it.
A damp 911 donated $5. This is why I watch more Korean TV and movies. US Hollywood is trash and needs to go away. Games suck here. Games in China are pretty good. You should see the esports stuff in China.
Interesting. If only I could understand what they're saying. I hate subtitles.
Edgy. They didn't give a fuck. They were fun. They didn't take things too seriously. And they were primarily designed to entertain men.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when you fire all the white nerdy men who were good at designing games, who knew what gamers like because they themselves were gamers. And then you diversified your workforce with those three groups. And then it's nobody that's actually good at games or plays games or cares about the engineering side of games. So then what you release is absolute slop for an audience that never existed because they don't play games and they don't know what gamers wanted. They're just there because it's a job and then they got hired because DEI. Does that sound like the rest of fucking society? Like all the corporate workforce, like all the products that get pushed down your throat today? That's what it is. Every single product you have today has and shitified because the people working on the products don't have any passion for them because they're not the original audience, because they're just there to make money and they don't even have the skills needed to push said product out to the right people who actually use it.
Games today are soft, safe, bland, sanitized, watered down, and gay, man. They're just gay. I was playing Grounded in 2020, and it has a checkbox at the beginning of the game that says, check this box if you have arachnophobia. It basically turns all the spiders into blobs floating around.
Oh, no way, dude.
Like, imagine if Silent Hill 2 at the beginning of the game had said,
oh, look, it's turning into a blob.
Check this box if you don't want to see the pyramid head sex scene. Like, what is wrong with people?
Bro. Wow, they literally think we're retarded. You're playing a video game and it has an arachnophobia safe mode. Who? A man in a skirt had to, a feminist who was designing this game and put that, they coded that in there. Someone wrote lines of code and was like, that's a great idea. Arachnophobia safe mode. It's like, hey, dude, play Gears of War, saw locusts in half and shit like that, and all the other crazy, blow them up into pieces. And then you fast forward as a gamer and you got a game that goes arachnophobia safe mode enabled for your eyes. And they're like, why don't people game
guys,
anymore?
How did this happen? How did edgy games from the 2000s
Holy
get
crap.
replaced with Fortnite and Roblox slop? And what I think it all goes back to is the fact that progressive...
Oh, are these the fat lesbians who made Outer Worlds 2? These are the game designers today. Wow, the gaming industry went mega woke.
Women, gays, and Redditors do not have God in their lives and therefore need to project their incorrect morality on the world around them to justify their own pathetic existence. Let me explain. In the 90s, who were the only people complaining about violence in video games? It was Christian Karens, right? It was our moms. But today, who are the, quote, religious people of today? Who are the, so to speak, priests and bishops of our culture today calling out things and calling them wrong? Is it not the woke people? Is it not ironic?
Oh my lord, dude.
At Yemen 1983 donated 50 euros. Have
Hey.
you considered using Claude Code to build an email aggregator that checks for duplicate YT links across emails, looks up video stats, and then provides you with an aggregated report on the recommendations?
That's
Keep
actually a good
crushing,
idea.
dude.
Thank you for the 50, brother. Jeez Louise. Appreciate you. Wow. That's actually a very smart idea. It wouldn't even take long to code that up, actually. That's a simple agentic task. Wow. Good idea. Thank you.
At JRob Detailing Ireland donated 5 euros. Always enjoy the content. I listen as I detail cars. Thanks
Hey.
for the good work, smiling face with sunglasses.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Rob Detailing in Ireland. Hit him up, boys.
Ironically, the degenerates who are calling
No way. He's got a cross on and he's wearing that. No way.
things right or good or evil. And do you guys see the irony here? And that's a problem. They call everything you do white supremacy, even though you're just a white guy who wants to live his life. They create words like toxic masculinity to make men feel bad about their God-given desires. They preach diversity, except
Holy fuck. Why are we getting morally chastised by these people?
when it's a bunch of fat, purple-haired white women in a room. No, they're fine. They don't need diversity. Have you ever thought to ask this question? Why is it only the majority white countries that need diversity? Guys, I hope you see what I'm getting at here. Wokeness isn't just a cancer. It's not just a symptom of a mentally ill person who screeches whenever they see Trump. Wokeness is an alternate religion. It's an alternate faith. It elevates the gay black lesbian to the status of a demigod. And by the way, I know tons of black people who actively hate this woke shit and are tired of being used as pawns by white liberals. So guys, I guess what I'm saying is this. In the 2000s, entertainment was allowed to be edgy because we had free speech. We had a free market. Christians, for the most part, wanted entertainment to be fun and didn't feel the need to project our values onto culture. But what we've seen since 2011 is the rise of literally Satan himself, the woke religion. It's a religion that feeds on the blood of young children as it sacrifices them down the garbage chute in the form of hundreds of thousands of abortions. These white progressive women doing this stuff, and they must be stopped. Reject the woke religion. Reject mind control. I'm a Christian, but I don't need to see my particular religious values projected on every form of media around me. I'm simply tired of seeing gays and Jews and Redditors running all the media I consume. I'm tired of diversity. I'm tired of the obsession with multiculturalism. I'm tired of the hatred of white people. White people created the internet, toilets, modern plumbing, and Western society itself. These are our culture. Why is every other race allowed to have a culture except for white people? So bringing this all back to video games, guys, let me tell you how we get back to the 2000s. We do it by this. Number one, make art and stop caring about what people think about it. Number two, do you and stop looking to other people for affirmation. This is what the 2000s was all about. Just make something, man. Make what you want and forget about the repercussions. Forget about what people are going to say. Just do it, man. Reject pussification. Reject gayification. Dude, our culture has become so fucking soft, man. Be as offensive and as edgy as you want and let the chips fall where they may. All right, I'm out.
Is that true? Grindr was the largest sponsor at the White House dinner, by the way. Is that actually true? This is how far we've fallen as a culture because this stuff is considered inflammatory to speak about. This is the kind of stuff that would have under Biden got you censored. This will make you lose your job. This will make you a pariah in the eyes of many because we must conform. If you don't conform to society today, which is super gay and woke and liberal, you have no place in it, which is ironic because the left is the ones that say that they're inclusive of all cultures, races, beliefs, credos. But if you don't agree with what they have to say, you're excluded, you're excommunicated, you're censored, you're punished. So weird. Like I said, we live in the inverse. They claim to be the tolerant left, but they're the most intolerant, radical, hardline ideologues that you'll ever find. If you stray one bit from the party line, you are punished severely. They like to ruin your life. So tolerant, right? This is the issue we have with society today. This woke bullshit. And this is why somebody like Trump was even able to win. It was a rebut from the people to the left, the woke mob. We were literally living under the tyranny of the minority, a radical left minority that was insatious when it came, had insatiable needs for power and control and social engineering. I'm so glad that this is openly spoken about these days. You couldn't make this video 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, the first 5 seconds of this video would have gotten your channel terminated because that's how ridiculous the censorship was. The Biden administration had a direct line to all the social media platforms, YouTube, everybody, and they were coordinating with them to ban certain videos. Literally, they would email the execs or whoever they set that line up with and would suppress videos, ban channels. Everybody had to walk on a tiptoe. Complete wreck of the First Amendment, your ability to just speak freely. Nothing unless it was the party line. Biden tried to make the Ministry of Truth, do you remember that? And put a woman at the head. It was so unpopular they canceled that shit. I'll never forget that. One of those weird things. Misinformation, malinformation, disinformation. So many words for propaganda. Basically propaganda. We're going to feed you propaganda and control the narrative so that the only bit of information you do have is what we've approved. Such bullshit. Dude. And it sucks because we voted in a retard that's not holding his end up with the deal. So these morons are going to maybe come back into power and then we're in for a world of hell. Christ. What else we got? I'm trying to find something. I guess we'll do the Tucker piece. Can we? I don't even know. Iran war predict. I don't even want to deal with the Iran war. That shit is so. Okay, this guy. 13 days ago, he's leaving Germany. Brutal, honest review. What's going on in Europe?
I'm leaving Germany. In fact, I have already left.
Is it over for Germany, boys?
And I'm not coming back. Ever. I mean, I will come back to visit, but not for living. that time is over. Over the years, a lot of people have come up to me and said, hey, I watched your videos about Germany and they convinced me to move to Germany. And now I have to say, I'm sorry guys, things have changed. I've been living in Germany for the better part of my life. I grew up in the south of Germany, lived for 30 years plus in Germany, the last 8 of which were in Berlin. But with every year that passes, things are getting kind of worse and worse every year a little bit. Quality of life in Germany is degrading to a point where I don't see a future in this country anymore. So I'm moving away. And in this video, I just want to share my honest opinion about the state of affairs in Germany, give my 2 cents about it, and tell you what led me to this decision, especially if you are considering moving to Germany, building a life there.
I want to get to the real ones that matter. Safety, let's be honest. He's talking about the economy. He's talking about taxes and social security. We already know they're high. He's talking about the social welfare state, which is nice. But then where's all that stuff? Where's that going? Who affects this the most? Let's see the safety. Come on.
Anymore. Because anymore. Never seen in Europe anywhere. You know, you go in there, there's like sofas for mothers to breastfeed their children. There's free diapers. And once you get children, you also think about where you want to raise them, especially if you have a daughter. I don't think Germany is a good place to raise a daughter anymore.
Why?
Because women in general, they don't feel safe anymore walking down the street at night. You don't have to take it from me. There's public petitions in all major German cities. Women want like vouchers for free taxi rides at night. In Berlin, they want to have like women-only subway wagons. And the stories you hear in Berlin, what women have to endure in public.
Women-only subways. Hey, bro, we imported the third world. So instead of deporting the third world, we're going to give them vouchers so that they can get free Uber rides around. Oh, and then also we're going to change the subway trains and then have female-only subways. Subway portions of the train. Oh, why is that? Oh, I don't know. It's just really unsafe now. Hey, what could have changed in Germany in the last, I don't know, couple of years or so that made it so much worse? Maybe Angela Merkel might know a thing or two about that.
Transport. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, to be honest.
Women despair of violence in Berlin public transport system. They just want to disappear. Hey, what's causing that? Our author recently described rape threats and heroin injection attacks. Heroin injection attacks. What is that even? So some crazed third worlder running around with a needle to, I guess, knock you out, sedate you with some massive dose of heroin, just literally jabbing that shit in you and injecting you with heroin. Heroin injection attacks.
You all know the reasons why it is like that. I don't have to talk about it. But
interesting.
The fact is, women in Germany don't feel safe anymore, for good reason. And deciding to raise a daughter in Germany is just, it's not a good.
Hey, I was told doctors and engineers would be absolutely needed for this cultural diversity. It's our strength. I was told that inviting all these doctors and engineers here would enrich us so much. Don't you like heroin dart enrichment? Don't you like having to separate women in trains? Don't you feel enriched yet?
Thought to have, you want to keep your people safe, your children safe, that they grow up in a friendly environment where they can feel safe any time of the day. This is just my opinion, but if a woman can't walk down the street at night and feel safe anymore.
Well, imagine being one of the strongest countries in the world with one of the most inventive people in the world. Imagine you nearly took on the world and you won. You were fighting multiple superpowers. It took a combined might of Russian bodies, American manufacturing, and whatever the retard British were doing, because the British are retarded. And they took you on and you still almost won. Almost won. Except Japan made the fatal mistake of just attacking America. They should have went up north. If Japan would have just went up north and grabbed those 1 million Siberian troops that reinforced the Eastern Front, Moscow would have fallen. One move. Barbarossa would have been a success had the Japs went north. They didn't. The Japanese instead decided to go and fuck with America. Big mistake. Second, if you don't even have to get into that one, just imagine if your leader didn't get hooked on basically meth and not listen to his generals. Fucking hell. Dude, one country, that's wild. And then you are reduced to a cucked nation. That now your own people have to move out. Your own women can't even go on trains. Your women now need vouchers just to feel safe and have free rides at night because the people your leaders brought into the country has enriched you so much, you're getting heroin darted. That's crazy.
A damp 911 donated $5. They brought in all those people that do these things causing women to feel unsafe. But if you look at it, the rules being created because of this is for all men, including the German men, stronger control on men in general.
And, thanks, brother. And the new promise from your right-wing so-called populist leadership is a lesbian woman with a foreign girlfriend. The leader of your conservative right-wing nationalist German party is a lesbian dating a third worlder. Talk about cooked. Extra crispy, burnt.
You have failed as a society, as a country. That's just my opinion. And it's kind of ridiculous. Every time something happens in Germany, politicians will just say, ah yeah, we have a knife problem. Knives are killing people. Women are dressed wrong. They should dress differently. And it's not a small thing, but you can also see it in the small things. You can't go to the supermarket anymore without feeling we're living in a crime-polluted society. Like in Prenzlauer Berg, one of the best neighborhoods in all of Berlin. If you want to go and buy shampoo or a cream, you go in a drugstore, DM. You have to go in many of the drugstores in Berlin to the
sign of the ghetto. Hey, this is a sign you're in the ghetto. When everything is locked behind glass, you're surrounded by doctors and engineers. Like, this is the easiest way you find out you're in a place where doctors and engineers frequent is if shit is locked behind glass.
cashier to get them so they unlock the products because they get stolen so much. Even in the Edeka, in like a normal supermarket, they're locking up alcohol, they're locking up Red Bulls, things that cost $1.50. They're putting security things on them that need to be unlocked at a cashier. What kind of society?
Yeah, what kind of society? A low trust society. That's the kind of society. You thought importing third world savages would somehow increase the trust in your society?
Is this becoming?
Holy hell.
Another example is Christmas markets. Last year, there have been a few Christmas markets who got cancelled because they can't afford the terror defense anymore because it's too expensive. It costs millions of euros for big Christmas.
You can't even have Christmas anymore in Germany because you can't afford the barricades, those like cement barricades that are meant to stop cars, because you got third worlders getting into vehicles and running over hundreds of people at a time and shit. In Eastern Europe, Romania is building the largest Orthodox church, holding Christian celebration and festivities and celebrating Christmas. There's no blocks of cement anywhere to stop cars. There's not. People are walking up and down the streets, safe, children laughing. Move over to the first world, Western Europe, the superpower that is Germany and the advanced German nation. You have to have massive cinder blocks blocking cars so people don't get run over because the third worlders. Holy fuck.
Christmas markets to put those barriers, terror defense up. And if Christmas markets, place of joy, the one thing people look forward to in December when it's cold and ugly outside, if they get cancelled because they can't afford terror defense. Many things have gone wrong in this country. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame this on migration. Migration isn't a bad thing per se. It's just, there's gonna be a few people who are doing stupid things.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
And you have to select them out. But Germany is doing an extremely bad job at that. One of the bigger problems regarding that is that...
Oh, great. Almost 2/3 of all planned deportations fail. Excellent.
Even if the people come to Germany to look for a refuge, they get denied. And if they are from certain countries, which are considered not safe, Germany cannot send them back, even if they are not allowed to stay in Germany, if they're not granted permission to live, to become a resident, to work here, etc. So you have this huge group of people from refugees who come to Germany. Their permission to be here got denied, but they can't be deported to their home country because it's not safe there. So they can't work here, they can't do anything here, but they are here because they're kind of in limbo. And that creates a lot of problems because they can't be part of society, they can't integrate, and some of them, of course, cause some trouble. It's also understandable that if you are in this limbo, you get a lot of resentment because this country didn't accept you. Another thing that drives people away is the unaffordability,
which is caused by the migrants. Let me get to the democracy part. That's interesting.
For decades, two parties have been ruling this country, CDU and SPD. They decided the future of Germany. That's what we got from it. And apparently people don't want to learn, especially for those two parties. Most people voting for them are over 60. They're retirees. They have voted for those parties their whole lives, and they're...
Sound familiar to America right there? Hey, sounds awfully familiar. Two parties. Most of the people voting for them are the boomers, and they're just used to voting them for the rest of their lives. So, and then you have the gradual decline of once great nation. Huh, sounds super familiar.
They're not going to change it, most of them. And because Germany is such an aging country, the majority of people is actually above 60. They're the biggest voter group. Apart from people voting for the same parties over and over again, Germany itself is not really a democracy anymore. I wouldn't call it that. Because there's this other party, AfD, and they are the second biggest party right now. But no other party will talk to them, vote with them, or discuss anything with them. They are just pretending they don't exist. They have always done that. And they're even trying to ban this other party, which doesn't sound very democratic to me. They're always accusing this other party of being undemocratic, but by not even talking to them, not letting them be part of the conversation, basically, they are being the undemocratic parties. That's just logic. I mean, people must understand this, right? In a democracy, if those parties get a big share of votes, in this case like 20%, that's like 1/5 of all people in Germany. And they can't be represented in a democracy if the other parties don't acknowledge their existence. It doesn't matter what you think about them, it doesn't matter what views they have, there needs to be a discourse. And in Germany, there is no discourse, not between the parties. And if you say anything that stands in the view of what this party represents, people will exclude you from society. Stuff from like
free
authoritarian
speech.
countries. And in general, I don't see Germany heading in a good way when it comes to free speech. People are getting arrested for posting memes on the internet, literally. 5 years ago, you could have only imagined this from authoritarian countries in Africa or the Middle East or something like that. But that would have been unimaginable in Europe. But now the UK is mass arresting people, Germany is following suit, comedy is over, yeah, memes are over. Critical thinking is not allowed on the internet anymore. Nowadays, people even get arrested for stating facts. It's kind of ridiculous. It really started to get like this around COVID, you know, like people weren't allowed to say
Where's he going?
Worse. Only time will tell. It's not that I hate Germany. There's just too many things that are... is the working culture, but since I'm self-employed, I'm not gonna be part of the working culture. So
Where's he going?
Mess. But where's my journey going, you ask now? I gave you all the reasons not to stay or move to Germany. For me, the best country in the world right now to live in is Japan. So that's where I'm going to spend the majority of my time now. Things work there, it's orderly. I can't really say anything negative about Japan. The only
the PewDiePie move, huh?
Negative thing is the working culture. But since I'm self-employed, I'm not gonna be part of the working culture there. Think now.
Funny how people end up going to something like Japan or Poland. Why is that? How many Polish people are in Poland as opposed to migrants? How many immigrants are in Japan? What is that? How does that happen? Japan is notoriously homogenous society with strict rules for immigration. What happens there? Why is that? Fucking hell, we can't even have these conversations because, again, the leftists that are in power, the liberals, they don't live in reality. They live in gated communities. Every rule they institute, they don't face any of the consequences for. And one day, if the rest of the people don't wake up in time, you're going to find yourself surrounded, a foreigner in your own country. You're going to feel like a stranger in the lands your fathers bled for. And it may be too late to change things. I don't know. You're going to go the Spain route. You're going to take a few brave souls that are willing to fight and take hundreds of years, decades to fight inch by inch for every piece of land back from your country. You really are going to wait until then? Much easier to do some shit to at least vote your way back to civility while you have the numbers. Holy fuck. Can you wake up, Europe, please? Because it's not looking good for the West. East is still fine. My lord. What is this? Oh, these have music. These are kick only. We'll stop with some politics, dude. Haven't done one. Let's just hear what they got to say here. A decent conversation amongst adults.
You've said
please.
If it does accelerate, Iran's first move will be...
They said the man who predicted this war makes another terrifying prediction. What do you guys think? Let's see.
...to destroy...
A decent topic. Oh, Jesus Christ. I messed up my screen again.
...civilian infrastructure in the Gulf, desal, energy, the rest. What are the effects at that point? Like, what are the... Let's just start with the economic effects on the rest of the world.
Yeah, strangely enough, I came into my profession, which I've been a professor at universities for 46 years and advised well over 100 governments around the world.
He's got the Bill Gates look.
I came into this profession writing my PhD dissertation on the oil shocks of the 1970s. I wrote the first model of what, how they worked, why they had such negative
after
effects.
The 73 Yom Kippur
After
War.
73 and 79. So I wrote the book, literally. And it's published in 1982 called The Economics of Worldwide Stagflation. The results of those two oil shocks give us an idea of what would happen. What happened in 1973-74 when there was an oil embargo, and then in 1979-80 when there was the Iranian Revolution, was a big disruption of oil supplies. It sent oil prices soaring, and it sent the world economy into a tailspin. And it was a very particular kind of tailspin because people lost their jobs, incomes went down, and inflation soared at the same time.
98.
And so you had a economic downturn and a rise of inflation, which at the time was viewed as a paradox because usually you have a recession and the prices calm down, or you have a boom and the prices accelerate. But this was a contraction and an inflation.
So people had less money coming in and everything cost more to buy.
That's it. And that's what was called stagflation. Now, the difference of then and now is that the two shocks then were temporary stops of the flows of oil. One was a boycott by the Arab countries against the U.S. and other buyers, like shutting down the Strait of Hormuz.
Just to be clear, what were they mad about?
They were mad about this, the 1973 war.
U.S. support for Israel.
Exactly.
Just to be clear about the cost to us.
This has been the same issue.
I was 4 years old when that happened.
This goes back a long way. And then 1979-80 was the Iranian Revolution. They were, the oil got turned off, but the oil fields weren't destroyed. There was no war in the oil fields. There was no physical destruction of infrastructure. Refineries weren't destroyed. What will happen in the next few weeks, if we don't choose the off-ramp, is the physical destruction of a lot of the Gulf region and of the Middle East more generally, because the U.S. will rain missiles and bombs on Iran, and Iran will launch what it has against targets in the neighborhood to show deterrence.
The question is Israel, well, Israel is, but is Trump willing to escalate? He's been signaling that he wants an off-ramp. At least there's been leaks from aides and people inside the administration. Some newspapers, or papers in general, have already reported that he's been looking for an off-ramp, and he's tired of this and what it's doing to his reputation and his polling, which he's very sensitive towards. Also, Iran. Today, I read and I saw on X that they've completely shut off any discussion in terms of nuclear material. They might budge on some of the other points, but not without having been paid reparations for everything that's happened, restitution for all the damage, which the United States, again, is not going to do. They've pretty much signaled they're not interested in talks whatsoever. How does Trump walk down from this? Are we going to go end their civilization again and bring them back to the Stone Age? So are we going to expand bombing? Well, it looks like it, because we keep massing material there to prepare for hostilities to resume. And Israel, as much, has already signaled, it's been reported also, that Israel has asked for the United States for a green light to begin hostilities again, while counting down the so-called ceasefire for negotiations. Hey, how long are we into this conflict now? I was assured that this would be short-term pain. This is going to be over quick. Hey, Iran wants to negotiate. Well, if they don't negotiate, we're blowing them to smithereens. Okay, we're pausing again. We're negotiating. Okay, we're not negotiating. Okay, what's happening? We're going to get into the point where that gap between all the oil, the gas, and other materials that are exported out of the Middle East that are on water right now en route and already been emptied at ports of countries that need that stuff, the shortages have begun. There are now actual supply side shortages that demand is going to obviously keep increasing. It's still consistent, but the shortage in the supply side is now becoming a real factor in the international markets. The ships are now empty. Those 2-3 week spans of product are all gone. And now countries, I've read recently, there's an article saying like Air France and a bunch of airlines in Europe have started canceling thousands of flights. Thousands of people are now paying fees like $100 plus per flight now, just to account for the fuel shortages. What happens if this conflict continues for more months, while these vulnerable economies, especially in Asia, will be forced into doing something to survive? Either leaning on the United States and pressuring them to stop the war, or somehow aiding a side, whether that is the United States or Iran, in order to get their oil. Because if you provide, let's say you're one of these Asian countries and you provide some form of material aid to Iran, okay, then Iran will allow your ship to pass through the Hormuz. How good is our blockade, actually? Because I'm reading conflicting reports. Some ships are making it through, others are not. So if we are going for a global blockade, how does China feel about that? Is China going to send its Navy to escort its ships? Or are they going to back channel with the United States secretly and say, hey, we know you have to save face and you're saying you're blocking all the ships, but we're going to turn transponders off. If you stop our Chinese ships, that's an act of war. And so we're going to move on Taiwan, or we're going to rapidly increase the material support to Iran, drag this out and bleed you out to death by 1,000 cuts. There's so many threats. They've already cut us off from rare earth metals, and we don't have the material needed to construct all these advanced munitions that we have. So we're quite literally running out of our munitions. Our stockpile, it's not the fact that we can't even manufacture the stuff. We don't have the facilities anymore, the manufacturing base to make these in the numbers that we need to continue the war at a high pace. But we've also been cut off and are forced to look elsewhere and retool our entire logistics for the shortages in rare earths. China and Russia have struck a deal. Russia supplying China with a ton of natural resources that they need. A ton of that oil is coming in from the massive pipelines they've built in the border Russia and China have. China is not as dependent on Iran as people make it out to be, but it is a sizable chunk, enough that they could make one of these moves, and they have with rare earths. Now, what does that mean for them in terms of escalating? China benefits from arming Iran the way we benefit from arming Ukraine and bleeding Russia of men, of material, of their economy, of all their stockpiles. China's doing the same. Why not supply Iran and just bleed the United States out? Every missile we fire is one less missile we have to defend Taiwan. China's made this calculation already. Why wouldn't they? And why wouldn't they already secretly be helping? Because they are. Heavy lift planes, transport vehicles with a ton of material already flies into Iran from China.
And hoping that that deterrence will stop something. Often, instead, what you get is just both sides unleashing their arsenals. And what will happen in a short period of time is not a closure of shipping, but a destruction of the physical capacities of providing the oil and the gas and the fertilizers and the petrochemicals and the other very core commodities for the world economy. And it doesn't take that much to bring the world economy into a tailspin, because you don't need.
And the economy's already wobbly. Guys, we don't have real jobs. Do you understand that all the quote job creation, we have net zero jobs, everything, all our economy is pinned on this AI shit. All these AI companies that are reporting massive growth and investment is driving most of our GDP. We have net zero growth. Our economy's not growing. Our jobs are not. We have no job creation. Haven't you noticed it's really hard to find a job? It's really hard to get ahead in this economy. The inflation is taking a bite out of everybody's earning power. We have more sellers on the market than we did in 2008. There are less buyers for houses because people can't afford them. The prices are too high and interest rates have crept up already. Who wants to pay 7+% interest rate on a house that's already inflated in price? A double whammy. People are already drowning in their car loans.
Need to close down half the oil supply. You might need to shut off 20% of the world oil supply, and that by enough will send the prices soaring, make Americans really suffer across the board, because it's not only at the gas pump and not only in the utility bills, but also in the cost of food, which will soar from this as well, because there will be a worldwide disruption of food supplies coming from this, because we're a very significant proportion of the urea, which underpins the nitrogen-based fertilizers of the world, come from this region.
From natural gas.
From the natural gas production, exactly. From the oil and gas fields, the hydrocarbon production, and other petrochemicals as well. I'm afraid that it won't take long for this to happen. And
well, governments will fall if that happens globally.
One leader pulled me aside a few weeks ago. I don't want to say who exactly, but said that that person was in a country that has a lot of oil production, not from the region, and said, "Jeff, you don't understand. I governed our state oil company. These are complex systems.
Yes.
They don't get rebuilt so fast, believe me."
Right.
This was a very authoritative figure, and I really take that to heart.
Well, energy extraction, refining, petrochemicals, distribution, it's all about 1 million times more complicated than people understand.
Exactly. And these are very sophisticated plants, and they are not built for war. They are built for...
Yeah, they're not hardened at all, which means one shitty drone that costs $7,000 to $20,000 hits a critical piece of that infrastructure, it's offline for months. It takes months to repair. Everything's got to be pressurized properly. It's so insanely complex. And that's on the production side. Then you have the logistics of storing the stuff, all the depots. Then there's the other side of the logistics and distribution, sending it out. Actually, some of these wells and shit like that, they're not allowed to go offline. Like once enough pressure builds and they're shut down, they have to stay shut down for a long time. Turning them back on is an entire process and it can't be skipped. We're looking at an energy crisis. We're technically already in one. We just haven't caught up to the supply and demand gap just yet. A lot of countries are running through their reserves currently. What do you think happens when the reserves are out? Supply can't meet demand. And now you're paying for the shortages. You're paying the premium. You're paying the actual market price. Actual prices at the pump. Actual prices of food. Because they're going to increase everything. Wholesale, all across the board. To transport the food is more expensive. To grow the food will be more expensive. To put it on the shelves will be more expensive. To package it will be more expensive. Every piece of, on the entire chain, top down, the entire vertical integration of this entire chain is affected by this. And we're going to have to pay for this stuff in the future. They keep saying short-term pain, long-term gain, but there is no long-term gain. It's true if you're rich and you're in stocks and you own energy stocks. And of course, you're going to have long-term gain there. Energy's going up. Yeah, the stock is, the futures market is, the price per barrel is, but you at the gas pump, that's not profit for you. That's not long-term gain for you. What is long-term? Think about it. What does long-term gain mean? On the country scale, like, are we going to take part in the toll system? Are we going to make money off Iranian oil? What actually changes than what the status quo was before? Because the Hormuz Strait was already open before. Ships were transiting without a fee. The gas pipelines, the oil depots, everything was already functional and exporting at max capacity. What changed? Nothing changed. Literally, the situation has degraded no matter which way you cut it. No matter what deal we make, the situation will be worse than what it was. We're getting a worse deal.
Just normal, peaceful, complex, sophisticated operations. And a lot of that could be destroyed in a very, very short period of time.
No, I appreciate that. And I think the view in the U.S. seems to be like if there's oil under the ground, you stick a straw in, it comes
That's
out.
it.
Then it's, if you go and tour a petrochemical plant or oil refinery or any extraction facility, I mean, it is like highest level technology, smartest people, super hard to understand the market.
I'll tell you, we had, one of a place you know well and I know well, one of the most sophisticated places in the planet, the Emirates.
Yes.
Asking the Federal Reserve a few days ago for emergency swap lines that may be needed in the event of a crisis. This is kind of shocking because, first of all, the Emirates you think of as
money.
Super rich.
Yeah,
it's the place where rich people go to put their money in the region. Of course, it's completely destabilized by all of this. It's a complete disaster for them, what's happened. But they are girding for the downstream effects of what I'm talking about, which is that first you get the physical destruction, then you get the real economy, so-called, the actual physical production of industrial products, of employment in the manufacturing sector and cascading across the economy, having huge negative consequences. But then you get the financial effects because people say, oh, well, is this place viable anymore? I'm withdrawing my money. But the Emirates operates on a U.S.-backed dollar standard, and suddenly you have a run on your banks. You have a run on your financial markets. So they're already asking, can we have emergency lines of credit? And maybe yes, maybe no, but that's the tip of the iceberg of the financial consequences that can come from all of this. So you get a huge cascade of effects. And then I want to mention, because I want to mention for completeness, it's more speculative, but the daily evidence is growing that what we call the interannual phenomenon of ENSO, which is fluctuations in air pressure and currents in the or sea surface temperatures in the Pacific, which cause El Niños, which people know about, and La Niñas. It looks like a very large, maybe what they're calling a super El Niño, is building for later this year. And it may not happen, but the evidence is growing that it seems like that's the case. So people might be curious, what does that mean? It means that warm surface water over the Pacific would spread to basically the west coast of South America. When you get a very powerful El Niño, the temperatures and rainfall patterns and drought patterns and storm patterns in all of the tropical and subtropical regions of the world are hard hit. One of the things, for example, that happened in the 1973-74 oil shock was that there was also an El Niño that year. It just, I'm remembering, and it was the combination that sent food prices soaring worldwide. And if we have that dual combination, I've been saying to myself for years, the next big El Niño or super El Niño is by itself going to be world destabilizing, because there are a lot of countries on the edge right now, on the edge financially, on the edge socially. The world's an unstable place because it's been so perturbed by everything that's happened in the last years that many places are just on the edge of solvency in their governments or financial stability and so forth. But if you combine a mass destruction in West Asia, the Gulf, the Eastern Mediterranean, with a super El Niño, I don't even know. Somebody's going to have to write the next book quickly about this, because we would not have had a shock like that since World War II, certainly. And the effects on political destabilization, on the effects of governments falling, the potential cascading of this war would be tremendous and uncontrollable. Just think, in addition to everything else, a naval fleet from China.
We don't have our fertilizer plants working either. It's down. Yeah, quite a few things are lining up for us. That's not looking good for 2026. There's a prediction that 2032 is where it's like the inflection point where it all goes to shit. There's a massive collapse. It makes sense that we're teetering. Is it going to be 32, give or take a few years? It could be shaping up to be that. Massive instability globally. Imagine you have this super El Nino in 2026. So what is it? China gets a drought. India has a weaker monsoon. Australia is completely cooked, right, by El Nino. The United States is mixed. The Southwest gets more rainfall, and other parts are completely drought-stricken. I think similar for Latin America. Some parts get more rainfall, other parts drought-stricken. I don't know what happens to the rest, Europe and all that stuff, but if you have a massive water shortage and previously dry areas get lots of rain and flood risk, and you have a horrible crop season because we don't have the urea needed to produce the fertilizer to get good yields. So we have a season with very low yields, floods, and droughts, on top of an energy crisis and shortage. What do you think that'll do to global food security, food prices in general? You're going to have off even days of electricity turning on in certain countries. You're going to have rationing of fuel. Gas stations won't have fuel on certain days. You're going to have brownouts and blackouts constantly. Potentially. If you're one of the weaker countries that don't have its own production and depends on import, you're fucked. If you're something like the United States, you're in an incredible position. It's an incredibly safe country to live. It can domestically produce everything it needs. It actually doesn't matter. You'll be hurt short term for food and cost and shit like that. Things might go missing from the rafters, from the aisles, but it's, for the United States, very minimal. If you're a country like, I don't know, Philippines or Thailand or these countries that are super import dependent on a lot of things like fuel, they don't have large reserves, they're going to be fucking cooked. You're going to see fuel lockdowns and shit happening for certain countries around the world. So it just depends how well your country is prepared. But the United States is one of the safest in the world. It's practically like the world in a country. The United States has everything it needs to become essentially isolationist. The United States does not even need to trade with anybody else. It can produce everything it needs within the United States. That gives it a unique power in the world. No other country has this except Russia. It's basically the United States and Russia that could be completely independent of the rest of the world. Self-sufficient. No other countries can do this. So now imagine that kind of instability, though, for every other country spreading in the rest of the world. And that leads to trade issues. That leads to financial disruption. That leads to economic pain. That's what we're going to feel. And that's when things start getting out of control for everybody, because then you enter into a recession. Then you have a global recession / depression for certain countries. It'll be worse in certain places than others. We may be resilient, but if the rest of the world economy screeches to a halt because of a domino effect in the economic order that we have here in the chain, we will also suffer economically. So it will exacerbate shortages and problems and stubborn prices and low to no job growth. That is the stagflation side of this. If that happens, we're all hurting, but we're going to be hurting in different ways. Like the guy in Thailand might not have food on the shelves in certain stores. He might have to drive his car every other day. You here in America might be paying super high prices, forced to cut back on a lot of shit. Different things will happen in different places. But don't think you'll not be affected. Now, the people that are most hardened against this are the people that you laugh about. For example, the doomsday preppers that have tons of rice, potatoes, canned food, shit like that. Those guys will be fine. The people doing the homesteading shit and have farm animals and chickens for their eggs and all that stuff with little micro gardens everywhere on their land or whatever, they'll mostly be okay. They won't feel anything. The people that live in normal neighborhoods in suburbia America or in the cities, you don't have even a small plot of land for a micro garden. You don't have any food ready, prepped in case there are issues long term, couple weeks, months. Do you have things prepared for if shit goes south for a few weeks? Most Americans don't. Most Americans don't even have $400 in emergency spending in their checking accounts. Most Americans probably, somebody said get 3 months of water stored. Most Americans don't have 2 weeks of water, let alone 2 days of food stored. How many of you have a chest freezer in a garage, if you even have a garage, with food that could last you a few months? Not many. So Americans are particularly vulnerable in this case.
Is heading towards the goal.
And you see, then there's the fear-mongering and the scare in society. Like Gary was saying earlier, a funny comment from Gary in all caps. It's all fear-mongering and doom and gloom and all that stuff. It is. And then you know how stupid your fellow man is. You remember the people during COVID, they were fighting in Costco's over toilet paper. Do you guys remember that? Somebody got shot or stabbed in a Costco over toilet paper. So what's going on, Gary? Remember that shit, Gary? I don't know if you were remembering that. The panic that sets in the public when they're obviously dooming and glooming. They don't understand the severity of the issues, and we can't even trust the government to be honest with us during one of these crises, just how severe things get. And people fucking shoot each other over toilet paper. So it's not even the fact, you could be well taken care of. Gary's in here, the boomer Gary's in here. You could be set up for your family and have provisioning that could last you for months on end. But you have to worry about the literal retards you call your fellow citizen, your fellow brother, your fellow man in the country, because they're going to ice you over toilet paper. That's how crazy shit gets.
Right now, it's heading towards the Gulf to escort Chinese vessels, or I don't know if it's only Chinese flagged or vessels heading to China to give them military escort. Suppose there's a war going on. Suppose the United States says we have a blockade and we interdict a Chinese vessel. Suppose that a Chinese destroyer comes alongside. You know, we're not in self-control right now. Sailors are not in self-control. Captains are not in self-control. We're living at nanosecond speed. Maybe Palantir's Maven system will say shoot. Who knows?
Somebody says, listen, if you run out of animals, which is highly unlikely, remember you eat the limbs first when you cook, people. Dude, you think the average American knows shit about dressing down an animal? Come on, dude. Like, you think they know how to process an animal properly? They're probably going to puncture the fucking gut and have shit everywhere all over, tainting the meat immediately. You know? Come on. Yes, people don't know how to gut an animal properly. You can taint the meat. People don't know that. You have to be very careful. There's sacks of piss and shit in there. You don't want that to actually get on your meat. So imagine the average American that just to kill an animal and take a life.
What will happen?
Hey, thanks, brother, for the sub, by the way.
But we're just lighting fuses that could blow up everything if we choose the ramp of escalation. And I think it will go faster than we imagine and without control. We don't seem to have any real control in our government right now, even of basic processes. We don't have interagency reviews. We don't have expert intelligence that are guiding policy. We don't have anything that is systematic. I think in Israel, it's the same way. When you have a cascade of crises, when missiles are at hypersonic speed and you're making decisions at with a few seconds warning or a minute or two warning of incoming missiles. Oh, what are we doing with all of this gamble when the whole premise of this war was wrong?
You need to be told this? Dude, don't you understand the average person can't even cook for themselves? The average person today is going broke from ordering Uber Eats and shit. They can't even be bothered to drive to the store. They order McFlurry slop at 12 in the morning. Don't you understand? Think about this for a second. Most women today, a common gripe with men is women can't cook. You think if you put a whole chicken in front of a woman, cut its head off, and then you lay it out on the table after it's done fucking, jumping around headless. Okay. Do you think do they know the first thing you need to do? What is the first thing you need to do after the chicken's head is off? Do you think they know that you get a pot of hot water and you boil it so then you can take the feathers out? Do you even think they know that step, let alone how to process the rest of the chicken? Do you think they even know how to defeather it? They don't know that. It's fucking over. Let alone, remember this. Now go to the store, buy a slab of like a ribeye slab, a New York strip slab, something from Costco. It's basically ready. You just have to cut it in chunks. Put that shit in front of somebody and say, cut this into steaks. And they're just going to look at a rib rack and go, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? It's already processed. All you have to do is cut it into chunks. They don't know how to do that properly. Okay, let's go one step lower. You buy 4 ribeye cuts of steak. It's already there, prepackaged for you. Okay, cook this steak. Do you think they even know that? It's scary. The average person in the United States, in just a first world country in general, the UK, especially city people are the worst. Especially city people. They don't know how to cook eggs. Guys, you think if we have some sort of, I'm not even going to say a calamity, but an energy crisis of some sort, some form of a shortage on food or something of that nature that requires people to be self-sufficient in any way, that Americans will do well with that? Americans will do the worst with that because Americans depend the least on the environment. Americans are the most detached from Mother Nature, from Earth, from actual farming. Planting, something even easier. Can the average person, if you gave them seeds of a tomato, plant that and grow it properly? That simple. Can the average person keep a plant alive? Because I've heard tons of women say it's hard to keep plants alive. Every time I buy plants, I can't keep them alive for longer than a month. That's crazy. You're expecting the average person to survive this kind of life? You have a lot of confidence in your fellow man. I've seen what the average person looks like in this country, what they shop for in this country, and how they cook in this country. To know that if times like this ever got this hard, a lot of the gene pool will get cold immediately.
And when the tactical premise that this was a one-day operation was proved wrong by the second day, why are we still facing this possibility of complete disaster?
So most people don't wake up in the morning and decide.
I said those who lived through the Great Depression had a great appreciation for the small things in life. They would waste nothing. I was born in Romania and then 80s. And then in the 80s, and my wife from the Philippines, in the 80s. Especially those communist times. Yeah, my parents are the same way. They keep everything. And they spend very little. And they cook at home all the time. And they have their garden and their animals. And they depend the least possible on anything. Mm-hmm. It's a sad state of affairs, boys. Most in society are not ready. Imagine if we did have some kind of weather pattern or an event that disrupted global food supply on top of some kinetic war that spills out into the wider region of the Middle East, something like that. Imagine if we have multiple civilizational destabilizing events, some form of climate bullshit, something in the energy infrastructure because the war or a war in general, something else accelerated by AI like mass unemployment. So you have food disruption, you have weather disruption, you have a war disruption. And then on the fourth one, you have a massive economic disruption because of the labor shortage from AI. I mean, those four things, like the four horsemen, right? The headless horsemen. That's like the four horsemen. Is that all going to coalesce one day in 2032? Is that when all four horsemen meet and brings the new calamity, the doom, the end times? Wouldn't it be crazy if you watched this video back in 2032 and you go, holy fuck, he called it. Imagine that. Where do you go from there? What country? Where do you avoid that? Do you have to live up in the mountains somewhere with your chickens and your goats away from it all? Are the mountains the safest place? It seems like it. Rich people like to live in the mountains. The most expensive land is found in the mountains. Isn't it strange that that's how it is? The mountains are where you can get snowpack still, fresh snow for water, process and store tons of water. You still got animals and game there. The air is the cleanest there. The weather is the most mild there. It seems like it's the mountains. When you want to escape some bullshit, you go to the mountains. Yeah. Hey, that's what I've noticed. The mountains are also very hard to get to. So if there was instability, war, shit like that, the mountains are avoided. The worst of the worst happens in the valleys, in the flatlands, in the easy to traverse areas. Seems like the mountains are the places you can hole up and defend yourself the easiest. So, I don't know. I've always said, and I was talking to my woman about this too, in the future, you know, buying a house and land and all that, it's got to be by the mountains somewhere. I understand the winters are brutal and, you know, that part of the mountain lifestyle sucks. Spring, fall, beautiful. Summer, beautiful. Sure, you just got to deal with snow and cold, but hey, that's fine. Yeah, the mountains. Yeah, well, Gary, we come from mountain people. Why do you think your skin's white? Okay. We were born in a cold climate. We were forged by it. All right. This is why we were forced to plan for the future. We know how to deal. Someone says snow is a great engineer repellent. Oh, fucking hell. The cold sharpens the soul indeed. So, anyways, boys, we've been at this for 3 hours. We're going to call it for today. Appreciate everybody that's been getting the shirts, the mugs. Shout outs to everybody that's been getting the merch. Everybody that's donated. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to another stream. Hope you've had a great Sunday. Go touch some grass if you can. If you've been sitting down, stand up. Stretch a bit. Loosen up that body. Go to the gym if you haven't. I know I do. Or I haven't, and I need to. And I need to go grab a bite to eat as well. What else? Yeah, just appreciate you guys for tuning in. Shout outs to everybody watching on Kick. If you haven't, go subscribe to Kick because you know how it is over here on YouTube. There's so many videos that we have. We're going to have to tune in on the next one to Kick because there's music and shit that we can't watch live. So please, if you haven't, excuse me, geez Louise, how rude. If you haven't, please go over there on Kick and subscribe. It's free to subscribe. There's no ads. And again, thank you for everybody signed up to the private community, joining us on calls 3 times a week. If you haven't, do so. And good night to those tuning in from parts of the world where it's currently dark. Good evening to those who still got some sunlight. Good morning to those just waking up randomly in another part of the world. Hope you have a good day. Hope you've had a great weekend. And we'll see you next week, guys. Take care of yourselves.